Hey guys, welcome back. Crew Blind Wave here. I'm Rick.
I'm Shane.
Aaron.
I'm Kevin.
And we are playing Game Night Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective.
Am I Holmes?
No. You're Holmes-o.
Now, this is currently available, but it will look much different. This is a very old version.
This is an older version.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I believe is actually was done on a typewriter, like before computers.
Really?
Yep. The
Where'd you
game's
get
been
this,
around
Rick?
for a while.
Where'd you get that?
eBay.
How much was it?
It wasn't that much.
Did they always have?
It was
those-
less than a pinball machine.
That's going to be his scale of comparison. Whatever something costs, is it more or less than a pinball machine? Is it bigger than a bread box?
I should register for Scotland Yard.
Oh, nice.
registration fee though.
So what kind of game is this?
Well, this is different than anything you've probably ever played. In fact, there's only been one game like it, and it's a spy version of this, basically.
Yeah.
So you guys are all going to work together. You are basically Baker Street boys, and you're trying to solve a case that Holmes gives you to sort of test you.
The size
Like a
of
spy network?
tangerine.
Yeah, like the homeless network in the show.
Right.
Okay.
So
We need to talk in an accent this entire time, right?
exactly.
Like me gonna solve the case.
Stokes.
Mariah
Stokes.
So Shane and I have been watching Sherlock on BBC.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the impetus to this.
Okay.
Okay.
But you guys are all working together.
Okay.
First of all, you want to actually solve the case, and then it's kind of a bonus if you beat Holmes' score.
I mean, there's a lot of numbers on this thing.
There is.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
buildings.
That's all of London. All of Holmes is London.
I see the Thames Rivers there.
Do I have to have?
Hey, Holmes.
I can't even see this shit.
So,
You're gonna be. Are you gonna be a cholo?
so in the base game, there are 10 cases. We're going to start with case number 1. I've already done it, so I'm just going to kind of set in a back seat.
Okay.
Okay.
We will read the case, and you guys will take notes, and you guys will travel around London interrogating people, or interviewing them, I guess.
Okay.
Get more clues, try to figure out who did it.
I like interrogate.
Once you feel that you know what the case is, and you want to solve it as quickly as possible because every turn you take minuses your score, you have to answer like a quiz at the end. And the quiz will ask like, who did it? Why? And then some other specific things.
I wish the American judicial system was like that. Like every day they don't come with a verdict. Like, you know, they
lose points?
score. Yeah.
They lose points,
So they
yeah.
don't hurry to get that verdict out
You get
there.
less money.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pass some of this around. Like everyone will kind of have a different job, you can say.
Oh.
So there's the newspaper archive, and we're only going to be dealing with the stuff on or before the date that the case takes place on,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So as you go through cases, they're all in chronological order. Sometimes you might have to refer to something from a previous newspaper that didn't mean anything during the case of that
Dude,
day.
what's that show of the guy that gets tomorrow's newspaper today? As a detective,
I
we
remember
could
that.
play that.
Yeah, we could.
I remember that show.
So
And then he prevents the crime.
someone should be in charge of the newspaper.
Okay.
Should be someone who can read.
Someone should be in charge of the directory. So you'll
I'll be the director.
hear people's
It's their
names,
phone numbers and addresses, Eric.
right?
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
And you'll look up the name or the business in that, and it will tell you where to go and which page to turn to in the clue book.
So this is like a phone book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not the director.
I'm good with those. And I am the director.
So someone will need to take this book, and it has all the clues in it. Basically, paragraphs that you'll read when you go to places and
Gotcha.
clues
I'll
you'll
do
get. Okay. So there is a couple things I need to explain in this. There are places that you can always go to for clues, regardless of the case. So, for example, you can always go to the chief medical examiner, which is like the girl in our show. So if you need to look at the body or something like that, figure out if it was poison, you can always go there. You can always go to Scotland Yard. You can always go to... you have an informant by the name of Fred Porlock. You can always go to your brother Mycroft. You can go to the library. You can go to the carriage stables. So for example, if you want to see if someone, I don't know, rented a horse, they're all listed here. But don't forget about those because they're useful.
Okay.
Other than that, you just, once you find a place that you want to go to, you'll look at it. So for example, this is 10 Southwest. and those will all come from the directory. It'll say Mycroft Holmes, 10 Southwest, and you'll go to that case. This is case 1, and you'll find that entry, and then you'll read it. And don't read any other entries, obviously.
So what
Like-
would I do in here if I decided to do this, which I haven't decided yet?
Well, so the first case takes place on March 20th, 1888.
Oh, okay, wow.
So that's
So-
only until you. It's this, this, and this.
Okay.
And so there are things in here that might have to do with the case, but there are
might
also red herrings or things that won't take place until later. So here
Okay.
you go, Calvin.
Alrighty.
I'll give you that. The quiz book we'll save until the end, once you feel that you're ready to solve the case. You don't really need the rules. There aren't a whole lot of rules other than what I've just explained. And then there's the case book. And I will read this.
Like a pigeon.
What was the one contact guy that we have?
They're all in the front there.
Oh,
There's about a dozen of them
Fred?
that you can go to. It's nope. Turn the page. It's
Change.
the
Wash
last
your
page
hands.
for case 1.
The Whiteleys.
Oh, really? Is there Farley's?
The Whiteleys are in here and it's spelled correctly. I told you there's an English name. Oh.
But the Elliots.
No. Yeah.
Did you look?
Yeah, and there's Farley's too.
All right, are you guys ready to take notes?
Is Elliot spelled correctly?
I didn't bother to care.
Take notes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've never taken notes in my life.
Well, that's a
Rick,
good
it
time to
smells
start.
old.
It's pretty old, Eric.
I'm afraid to break it.
no, don't.
Yeah.
Was like 50 years old?
I would need that till.
So-
This is copyright 1981, but I think this is from the expansion.
So where do we start?
You don't start anywhere.
Only one T.
Where's my little piece that represents me?
So this is like Fortnite where you.
Yep, exactly.
So, yep, you land in the
and you're
Thames.
dead. In the Thames.
Landing in the famous.
And you guys can refer to this as much as you want, but I will read it aloud for
Okay.
your benefit and the audience.
Okay.
So this is case number 1, the case of the murdered munitions magnate,
Janitor.
or magnate, I
What?
guess.
Never mind.
20th of March, 1888. Despite the lateness of the month, March is still roaring like a lion. In fact, just as we alight from our cab in front of 221B Baker Street, a derby hat skitters propelled by a fierce wind. In close pursuit is none other than Wiggins, chief of Baker Street Irregulars, and, after Dr. Watson, Sherlock Holmes's most able assistant. Before we can join in the chase, Wiggins manages to halt the flying bit of finery with a deft stroke of his umbrella. Cramming it squarely on his head, he saunters back towards us. "Hello," he says cheerfully. "It would appear that Mr. Holmes is summoning the troops. Shall we?" With the point of the umbrella, a very versatile tool it appears, Wiggins stabs the doorbell. It is several moments before Mrs. Hudson answers. After a brief exchange of greetings, she sends us on our way to Holmes's apartment. Above, we find Holmes and Dr. Watson sitting at a table, engaged in earnest conversation with a gentleman in his late 40s, expensively dressed, yet somewhat rumpled in appearance. "Warm yourself," says Holmes, "and I will explain my reasons for calling you out on such a bitter morning." Coats and hats are immediately shed. There's a distinct pop as Wiggins removes his derby, and a rush is made for the fireplace. In due course, introductions are made, and the gentleman is identified as Mr. Richard Allen,
Convenient.
brother of the late Courtney Allen, president of the Grant Arms Company. So Mr. Richard Allen is the brother of late Courtney Allen, who was the president of Grant Arms Company. Is everyone ready for me to go on?
Yeah.
"It is the recent death of Mr. Allen's late brother," says Holmes, "that occasions his visit to us. Briefly, Courtney Allen was found shot dead in an Courtney Allen was found shot dead in an alley behind his office on the evening of March 9th at approximately 7 p.m. The body was discovered by a constable on patrol.
Coppers.
Scotland Yard has put the crime down as a simple robbery by person or persons unknown, largely due to the fact that the victim's wallet was found empty near his body and his gold pocket watch was missing. Mr. Allen was just telling us a bit about his brother when you arrived. Please continue, Mr. Allen. Well, Courtney was a dynamic individual, always busy, forever on the move. Yet he had the unique ability to make 10 minutes spent with you seem like an hour, so complete was his attention on you. Of course, his charm worked like a magic potion on the ladies. You said he was married? Asked Watson with a raised eyebrow. Oh yes, poor Beatrice. Was he involved in an affair at the time of his death? Asked Wiggins. Yes, I believe he was, but I have no clue as to who the lady might have been. You see, the night before he was killed, I popped round to his office, about 5:30, and managed to coax him to supper at Keen's.
What?
I popped round his office about 5:30, and managed to coax him to supper at Keen's, Keen''S. We were there but a short while when Courtney begged to leave. He indicated that he had an important meeting. He said, "Auf Wiedersehen," and winked. That wink meant a woman. Is the company financially sound? Asked Watson. Oh, quite. A fine investment for anyone's portfolio. You see, the company was founded as a small gun shop some 70-odd years ago by our great uncle Thaddeus Grant. It catered to a very elite clientele. Most of the chaps in the regiment were equipped with pistols from Grant's, nods Watson. Why, Braxton. You've heard me speak of Braxton, Holmes. He had a pair of finest dueling pistols. Yes, Watson. Pray continue, Mr. Allen. Courtney, always fascinated by firearms, apprenticed himself to Uncle Thaddeus. When Thaddeus died in 1873, he bequeathed the business to Courtney. While maintaining the original shop and its tradition, Courtney expanded it into an international arms trade. With loans and the sale of public stock, he was able to build a plant at 12 Deverell Street, Deverell.
Deverell Street?
12 Deverell Street. For the manufacture of heavy ordnance. Today, the firm is debt-free and very profitable. Of course, a drop in the share price occurred when the news was found out about my brother's death. Who has ascended to the presidency? Asked Watson. Courtney's picked successor, Philip Marlowe, the second vice president.
Second?
He was the second vice president, but now is the president, Philip Marlowe. And why not the senior vice president? Young Lord Raglan, who runs the Deverell Street plant, is a brilliant tactician, but a most inept businessman. That would be Lord Raglan.
Or Ragnar.
Yes. Who inherits your brother's stock? His wife Beatrice. Now I think we might examine the effects found on your brother. So saying, Holmes turns his attention to a briefcase and a large brown envelope. It looks as if some sharp object has been used on it, comments Watson, referring to a long gouge on the leather briefcase. Yes, and it's practically brand new. I gave it to Courtney for his last birthday, January 6th. As you can see, it is locked. The police found it that way. Courtney kept the key on a chain attached to his watch fob. The watch, of course, was stolen. Holmes retrieved a long piece of wire from the coal scuttle. After gaining Allen's permission, he inserts it into the lock and with a quick flick of the wrist, springs the lock open. He pulls out several folders for our examination. Each is filled with company papers and is coded to indicate its contents. One is marked MLC, for instance, concerns various coal mine leases. Another, marked S87R, contains a listing of sales to the Russian government during the preceding year. One folder is empty. It is marked SP Number 10 -A. Holmes then empties the content of the envelope onto the table. The inventory includes spectacles and case, a ruby ring, a gold wedding band,
Hold on.
spectacles with case, a ruby ring, a gold wedding band, a keychain with keys, an empty wallet, a small notebook, and a note which reads, "Meet me tonight at Spaniards, 10 a.m.
Tonight at Spaniards?
Meet me tonight at Spaniards, SPANIARD''S. Is that Spaniards? I think so.
Yeah.
10 a.m.
How's that tonight? It was 10 a.m.
Seizing the notebook, Holmes observes there are 2 entries on the day of your brother's death. Captain Egon, EGAN, 8:30 p.m. Can you tell me who this Captain Egon might have been, Mr. Allen? I've never heard the name. The other entry is Plant, 8 a.m. Surprise. The previous day's entry is Bishop's F, 8:30 p.m. and a notation that it was Billy's mother's birthday. Billy is Courtney's secretary, William Linehart. Holmes compares the writing in the notebook with that of the note. They appear to be identical. He nods and says, "I believe we have enough to begin our investigation." After Allen is gone, Wiggins comments that his hand gestures were most intriguing, combining infinite subtlety with tremendous force. It is easy to imagine he has no trouble making his wishes known on the floor of the London Stock Exchange. "I don't recall Allen giving out his occupation," says Watson, puzzled. "No," replies Wiggins, "but certainly phrases he spoke, coupled with the penciled notations on his left shirt cuff, stock prices surely led me to conclude that he was a stockbroker." "Bravo, Wiggins. Well, Watson, our young man has come a long way since the days you described him as a dirty little street Arab, eh?" "Thank you, Mr. Holmes, and after all, I was taught by the master." "True," says Holmes, matter-of-factly, quite true. So the case begins. So, in summary, a owner of a gun manufacturer was killed, shot dead, and apparently robbed. A robbery seems to be the motive.
Found March 9th, 7 p.m. behind, in the out. Yeah, you shot dead behind Courtney's office, I guess.
In the alley behind his business.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. March 9th, 7 p.m.
So inside of that directory are the different places you can look up either by the names, some of the names that you heard, like you might want to talk to his wife, which is probably at his house, or maybe one of the people that works for him. You can also look up the name of his business, which is in like the white pages towards the beginning.
Okay.
Or they all might be in alphabetical order. Some of them are listed under like N's for I, and then all the N's are listed under that, for example.
First, we want to maybe interview some of these people about it.
Yep, you need to decide where to go first. I'll keep track
All
of...
go together?
Yeah, you all go together.
Go down the list, medical examiner first.
Now, you want to try to do it in as few as possible in order to get the best score. So you need to sort of separate the wheat from the chaff in who you think is the most important. And then they'll tell you things that will lead to other avenues of investigation.
Does he work for Scotland Yard in this?
Mycroft works for the government.
Okay.
I said we might not want to go to. We can go to them for sure, but we could also find something else that may benefit us as well. Looking at what we know of what happened.
Yes, I mean, I wish this...
Let me get a notepad real quick. And so your thing is, you know...
It was March 9th, this is March 20th. They can't go back further. Alright?
True, but just because it's March 20th doesn't mean that it's not talking about things that had happened.
Yeah, it was March
Previously.
28th is whenever they had this right here, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
So there could be something in
March
there
28th
that
is where
relates.
we just had our meeting.
Today is March 20th, right?
Today is March 20th.
Yeah.
20th?
The-
Okay,
the
I'm
20th,
on
yeah.
The murder occurred on the
March
9th.
Yeah. Okay.
So we could find information from news based on the death, maybe on the 9th or 10th.
Okay.
There may be. How far back does it go?
Well, so
Starts on March 20th.
this is the paper for the 20th, but there are clues in there that may have taken, weeks previous.
Yeah, because there could be maybe like an article where maybe something in the business changed.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
maybe one of the vice presidents could be involved.
Yeah. So, you're looking for things that might have something to do with the case, like maybe, arms sales or arms stolen or
I mean,
robberies
most-
of watches.
Yeah, so the most suspicious we have would be like the vice president who didn't get promoted, right? And then I would say the wife because of the cheating.
Maybe.
Yeah,
but
I was
would-
thinking the wife. I think if they knew about that, that would be a prime thing. She'd be prime suspect almost.
I'm thinking that it's a faked robbery, and there was either blueprints or plans or records or something in the SP number 10A folder that they were wanting removed or hidden.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe business dealings or
Yeah.
maybe it was competition. Maybe there's another arms
I
company.
mean, it could be that
was-
someone got into it with the key from the watch,
Mhm.
stole the only thing that they wanted to steal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could also be that maybe it was empty by coincidence before. But yeah, I think the robbery thing it would be a ploy of like
as a cover for killing him.
I don't know if would it be the second vice president guy that got passed over or the first one?
The first guy got passed over to the second because the first guy is a good businessman.
I mean, that could be a thing.
Was it known that that guy was
What?
not gonna be moved up, right?
I don't know.
Because if it was known that he wouldn't move up,
Then
it
why would he
wouldn't-
kill?
It wouldn't benefit
Because
him.
he'd still be second.
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
wouldn't get anything.
We'd have to go talk to him.
But it would benefit the second guy that did get promoted to kill him.
So everyone we interview, we lose a point. We can talk as long as we want.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can go to every single place on that map if you want to.
But
And-
we're minus like 90 points or something.
But you want to try to solve it as quickly as possible, in as few steps as possible, is the idea.
So where's the first place we should go?
I'm just going to read this newspaper for a little bit.
That's true. We can read that and there's no...
Yep. And you can also
No
reread this as much as you want if anyone wants to.
I'd like to
This is the
reread that,
directory?
Just case one.
yeah. Case one only.
Yep.
I mean, generally you talk to loved ones first. I'd probably talk to his wife first, right? Because she could probably give us information that can color the rest of the conversations we'll have with other people.
So she'd probably be at his home, which would be under Richard Allen.
I was looking for Alan.
I was distracted that the name of the place is Grant.
Yeah,
His last
Alan
name
Grant.
is Allen.
He was shot, right? How was what's his name? How was he
Richard?
found? Yeah. How was Richard found dead again?
Shot.
Shot dead.
He was found... Yeah. He was found shot by just a officer walking by patrol.
Yeah. His wallet was emptied.
His watch was missing.
His watch was missing,
There's a
and
jewelry thief found dead, but I think he strangled people.
The odd thing is the gouge in his briefcase.
yeah, there was a file missing from his briefcase.
If they had the key,
Well, yeah,
then
the
they
key would
could
make
open
sense to be
it.
able to get into, but why would it be a gouge? Would it be because of like he was trying to defend himself?
Or someone else also got into it before the murder.
So I'm going to keep track of every step that you take,
Maybe Marlowe?
and we'll compare that to the steps that Holmes took to solve the case at the end.
I mean, we definitely need to figure out what was going on at home. We need to figure out what was going on at work. Right?
It's both seem reasonable.
I mean, the shares have dropped since he died.
Which could speak to either competition or just, somebody trying to take over from the inside and get moved up prematurely.
Philip Marlowe, who is the successor, he went over the senior VP, who's a lord,
Correct?
which is interesting.
Jewelers.
He's an inept businessman, but he has quite the standing.
Grant's Arms Co.
And I think it said he was a great technician.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, technician. First, I thought you said tactician. And I was like, well, I guess that makes sense if he's a lord, but how is he not a good businessman then? It's like tactics.
You know what seems weird? Is that he had a note that says, meet me tonight at Spaniards, 10 a.m.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
Like, could it be...
Now, there's something...
Could AM be like initials rather than being like morning?
Yeah.
There's something that's not obvious from me reading it, but the AM in that case was capitalized, whereas every time else he referred to AM or PM, it was lowercase.
So could
Yeah.
AM be...
And it was...
So it could be initials. It could be meeting at 10 p.m. and in your meeting AM.
Yeah.
10
Here,
of,
look here.
10 of that dude.
10
See,
of that
it's
person.
Meet me tonight at Spaniards dash 10 dash A period M period. So I feel like that has to be initials. Do we have anybody in
Or a
the
street name.
Well, if it's at Spaniards,
Oh, let's see. Where's Spain? Is it a restaurant?
It might be a restaurant or an inn.
Spaniards Inn, 25 Southwest.
okay.
And you can also, I've got you some coins to mark places, because sometimes, like,
Places that you go back to.
well, no, more of like, well, the killer would have had to have been on foot, so it needs to be close to this place.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
So let me
That
get
makes
those.
sense. So here.
So if you guys do ever want to mark anything, there's
If we think it's
coins.
AM could be initials, we can look at the M's and see what first letter starts with A. See
Yeah.
how many there are. And it's anybody that's close to the crime scene.
And once you start interviewing people, it will help bring things into focus.
There's a Sir Adrian Malmquist. There's an Anthony Mariana. He had a note that said, meet me tonight.
I would say we go interview the
Marsh.
wife first. Right?
Makes sense.
You think the wife?
Generally, that's who you go at first, right? Loved ones.
If there's a reason to go to the wife, yeah, I suppose. But is there a reason to go to the wife?
I'm just following the procedure, Aaron. Okay, this is what was taught.
Hey, there's a Calvin in here.
No one cares.
It's Calvin all along.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta get more information. We'll probably get more from certain individuals, the wife being one of them. So let's go there.
Well, if that is where you want to go,
I don't think we're not going to talk to her, right?
No, we should go talk to her at some point.
Yeah.
look up her
She's not
address,
important.
and then it will give you an address, and then you find that corresponding entry in the
No.
book of clues that Calvin
Her
has.
address is 1WC.
I think this case would bore Sherlock.
WC?
One
Sherlock
WC.
I know.
WC's up there.
Yeah.
I'm guessing like Westchester and Eastchester. or
One
something.
WC.
Yes.
That's it. Okay.
So you can mark it if you want,
Put a coin on it.
All right, Eric.
and then look it up, Calvin.
I'll let you.
It's in your book.
I'll let you lead this investigation part of this part.
I don't know why you're being spiteful.
I don't think it's the woman.
I mean, we had to talk to somebody,
Is there any
right?
kind
Why
of
don't we just pick one?
organization to this?
I think
Yes.
standard procedure
So
is
there's
that, but
case
because
one,
it's the point-based
and
system, it
then-
makes you want
Okay.
to like.
Yeah, I'm thinking things out. I'm letting him read that. I think
WC.
there's something to do with business, and I don't think it would be the wife.
WC.
Although her getting shares would be helpful, but not if she's
Okay.
destroying.
1 WC.
Okay.
All the lights are on at Richard Allen's residence as we arrive on his doorstep. He invites us in, and we sit in his tasteful living room. Mr. Allen, is there any more information about your brother that might help our investigation? He thinks, I've said everything I can. Sitting beside him, we, each in our own way, wonder why we've come.
Oh no, that's
Yeah,
Richard Allen.
Yeah, we don't want Richard Allen. We want.
Want
we
Courtney.
Doesn't
want
count.
Courtney Allen's.
Well, Somebody gave me the wrong address then. That's number 1 WC.
So we want Courtney Allen,
Yeah.
which is. I don't think there was a Richard Allen or a Courtney Allen. ALL. There it is. 14 NW.
14 Northwest. Or whatever.
Because Richard's the one we talked to earlier, right?
Right.
That's
He's the
41.
brother.
Yeah.
It doesn't count. Yeah.
Yeah,
First outing.
I crossed it off.
14 NW.
Mm-hmm.
14.
Might be
Okay,
northwest.
W's up here.
Mm-hmm.
And 14 is
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
12,
7, 8,
16,
9, 10,
14.
14.
Yeah. Okay.
What's that say?
I can't read it.
Card club? What?
It might be a different thing in a different case.
Oh.
Our interview with Mrs. Allen is mercifully short. She answers our indelicate questions with quiet, calm dignity that convinces us she knows nothing of her husband's murder that would be of any help to us.
Okay.
Okay.
We can't just ask her questions. Like, it has to just. She read that shit, and that's.
I mean,
that's a reality.
It's not role play.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
points are fixed.
Okay.
So she knows nothing.
Well, fuck.
Okay. Well,
Now where?
Like, asshole. Possibly have known that.
you said director.
I just said I felt like it wouldn't be her because
Sure.
Because the shit's
I
missing.
feel like it's got to be business related.
Okay.
I don't think she would be trying to steal stuff.
No.
Well, you can go to the place of business.
So I feel like,
I just want to finish kind of reading this first.
yeah, the newspaper articles.
Is there anything interesting in there?
I'm not even halfway through.
Have you caught anything interesting though thus far?
Not really. I mean, no, I haven't.
Okay.
But maybe it's interesting. I didn't really know it. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure I haven't.
I mean, I think the best option would be to talk to Philip Marlowe or someone who may know what these folders are of MLC SP10A, like someone who knows what SP10A is,
Yeah.
because that's
So-
empty. And why is that empty? Because someone probably stole it, right?
So should we go to the?
Although, who would know that the key was on the watch? Was that common knowledge for everybody?
I think the wife would know. Let's go back and.
The wife. The wife and the brother knew, right? The brother was the one that told us.
We have jewel
Yeah.
thieves here.
Yes.
Jewel thieves?
We have a jewel thief, actually.
You know what would make sense though about jewel thieves?
Is they
that
didn't
he
take
had
the ruby
a ruby
ring.
and a gold band. You figure they would take those.
Yeah, that's why I think.
But
it's nothing to do with that.
it was all scratched up, as if they had tried to pick the lock. And the only thing
Who's-
missing inside was a
What
folder.
was the thing
contents
about
of a
Captain Egon? That was a meeting he had?
Yes, that was in his diary.
That
Yeah.
was the. Yeah. At 8:30 p.m. the day before. I think.
Yeah.
So.
His brother had no
There-
idea who that was.
There are 2 entries on the day of your brother's death. Captain Egon, 8:30 p.m.
What about his secretary? What was it, William something?
They call him Billy,
Oh.
but his name's William Leinhart.
About
Yeah.
him.
He had a Mother's Day, a mother's birthday
Yeah,
surprise or something.
is
like
Bishop's F, 8:30, and a notation that
Bishop's F a place?
I would say so.
That was the same day? Is that what that is? So he had
2
like,
entries on the day of your brother's death.
Captain A,
Yeah.
Captain Egon, and then the plant A at 8 a.m. was the day of his death. The previous day was the
Oh, yeah.
Bishop F and the mother's birthday.
Plant, 8 a.m.
So
surprise.
the day before he died.
Bishop F is Fiddle House.
They also have them listed by name, so if you go to the B's, it might be under there.
Could be under F.
Could be.
I don't know.
Okay,
West
so that-
Central, East Central. I wonder
Okay.
what ECWC stood for.
ECW.
we don't
Bishop's
know any of the
Finger
women he was
Inn.
having affairs with, do we?
Bishop's
Nope,
Finger in.
it's unknown.
There's Bishop's Finger Inn. So that's where the surprise was in, right?
No.
It says Billy B Day. 8:30 p.m. Bishop's F, right?
The surprise
Yeah.
is the day he died. It says plant 8 a.m. surprise.
Yeah.
The previous day was Bishop F at 8:30 p.m.
But then it said Billy B Day on it too, right?
Billy's mother beat him.
Billy's mother's B-Day.
Yeah, they're here.
Okay.
So this is the plant one, and then the previous day's entry, Bishop's F, 8:30, annotation saying Billy's mother's birthday.
Okay.
Billy Bones.
Linhart.
Wait, where is Spaniards at? It was an inn. Hang on. Inn. Spaniards, 25 Southwest.
It's right there. I already marked it.
I'm not
Does
playing.
this guy like going to
5EC.
recitals, like piano recitals and
All the way
things like
across
that?
town.
We don't know
Shane,
that.
move your paper for a second.
That's
Yeah,
all the
that's
way across
all
town.
the way across town.
What was the question, Shane?
I mean, do we know like extracurricular activities this guy did, like piano recitals, by any chance, or anything like that?
No, he didn't have any like
Um,
ticket stubs on him.
Okay.
Where's his
Make sure you speak into the mic as well
Where's
when
his
you talk.
office?
Okay.
He's
His
down in the
office-
alley behind the office. Is that
His
what,
office is
that
at
what the 5
12
is?
Deverell Street.
His business plan?
What's the name of the?
Like he has Grant Arms
Grant,
Co., which is
right.
at 5EC.
Okay.
But is that where his office is? So he was found. He was found here.
Right.
Because if he was supposed to have a meeting at 10, way down here, and he was killed that night, he would have gone all the way back to his plant or his business.
Yeah.
I think we should choose someone business related to talk to. I don't know if it should be the vice president or the secretary.
I mean, they might all be at the business. You don't necessarily have to go to their homes.
I feel like the secretary would be. I
Well,
don't know.
if we
'Cause
go
he
to-
wouldn't have anything to gain, but he still might have
Let's go to
information.
business and then look at the alley.
If we go there and look at where he died and see if there's anyone inside,
Yeah.
it might be a good spending of our time.
Expenditure.
Yeah, rather than spending our time doing something else.
Okay.
Where's that's
I think it's at 5EC.
yeah, that's what I have.
Where is it?
Okay, if that's his office.
Somewhere between 5 and
That's
or
5EC.
okay, there it is.
Okay, Calvin, would you like to read
Sure.
the entry?
Oh, almost tipped backwards. EC, 5EC. The pre-arrangement, by pre-arrangement, we meet Constable Beadle behind the Grant Arms Company in the alley parallel to Leonard Street. I noticed a strange lump up the alley. I knew right off that something was amiss. My instincts for the out of place, you might say. Watch your step there. The cobbling hereabouts is in a bad way. Many a jagged edge just made for tripping a man. We have strolled 30 feet or so from the base of the stairway that leads to the offices of Grant Arms Company to arrive at the juncture of a T formed by another alley that leads to Old Street. It was right here, and sad to say, it was not a lump at all. Now the victim was lying on his back, the force of the bullet having thrown him backwards. The briefcase was lying right beside the body, waist high. The wallet was lying a few feet away. The victim's overcoat was thrown open and his pocket watch was missing. But part of the chain was still attached to the vest. He was quite dead, and there was still some warmth in his bare hands, so I couldn't have missed the blighter by much.
Stop. So part of the chain was attached to
his vest.
ripped off, maybe?
So yeah.
Now I figure the perpetrator must have hid in that shed just up this second alley. When the victim approached, he jumped out and fired point blank. As you can see, but 5 feet from the shed to where the body lay. We thank Constable Beadle for his time and trouble. He goes back on patrol, but we linger a moment longer at the scene. From the shed, Wiggins calls to us. Seems both Scotland Yard and our perpetrator have been quite careless. His open palm reveals the remains of a cigarette. On it are the letters B and H in gold leaf. The tip end is pinched evenly all around. Beaming, Wiggins suggests that we adjourn to the offices of Grant Arms Company to interview Allen's private secretary. Our unorthodox means of entry via the back stairwell startles a young man as we meet in the corridor. Fair-haired and pleasant-featured, he turns out to be William Linhart. After introductions are made, we are seated in Linhart's office. Wiggins asks him questions that has been nagging at all of us since the beginning. What was Mr. Allen doing in the alley? Anytime he worked after hours, which was often, he would leave by the back way. It was a short walk to the old street, where traffic was heavier and cab more likely to be hailed. So anyone who had passing knowledge of Mr. Allen's habits, company employees, or even business acquaintances, would certainly have been aware of that practice? Yes, that's so. That evening, Mr. Allen was scheduled to meet with a Captain Egon at 8:30. Can you tell us where Captain Egon is? Or who he is? He is an ordnance officer in charge of purchasing for the Admiralty. Do you know what the meeting was about? He and Mr. Allen met often to discuss the special project undertaken for the Admiralty some months ago, but I was unaware of that particular meeting. Mr. Allen regularly delivered progress reports, but always during the day, and I always made the appointments. So this is out of the ordinary for it being at night.
The meeting is out of the ordinary?
Yeah, the time of day is. Could you tell us about this special project? It is very secret, but I suppose I can say that it involves the development of a new type of naval gun. Were there problems with the project? None that I am aware of. Mr. Allen was very concerned about security, though. While we do sell arms to foreign powers, there are certain weapons that are reserved exclusively for our own government. Special Project Number 10 was such a one, so SP Number 10A,
Which was empty.
which was empty. Was Mr. Allen's concern over security based on a specific incident or centered on a specific person? The existence of the project was common knowledge, so I'm sure he expected a certain amount of, spying. He called in Lord Raglan to discuss the matter after several strange people were seen hanging around the Deverell Street plant. Why would the plant be under surveillance? All the technical data, blueprints, formulas, that type of things are housed here. Our offices are entirely administrative. Mr. Allen's brother believes that he was having an affair at the time of his death. Realizing that this is a delicate matter, would you know who the lady might have been? No, I don't. Over the years, I've always known about Mr. Allen's picadillos, but only in the most general way. We would be working and something would trigger a cryptic remark that obviously had to do with his personal life. For example, just after the International Arms Fair opened, he received a scented letter on pink stationery. Later that day, he was dictating a memo to Lord Raglan when he stopped and picked it up. He took a full whiff of it and then said aloud, Women who marry for a title, but they don't necessarily fall in love for one." Then he laughed and went on with the memo. "You're now secretary of the new Mr. President, Mr. Marlowe?" "Yes, he was Mr. Allen's hand-picked successor, which perfectly illustrates the man Mr. Allen was. There was no love lost between them, yet recognizing Marlowe's outstanding business acumen, he named him as his heir, so to speak. Thank you, Mr. Linhart. You've been very helpful."
So you guys know, the Deverell Street plant is at 12 SE.
Okay.
So arms trade fair closes. There's some arms stuff here.
When, Shane, is there anything in there about when the International Arms Fair happened?
I talked about the arms trade fair closes. The International Arms Trade Fair, which opened at the Royal Agriculture Hall March 4th,
March 4th?
closed yesterday with a 21-gun salute to the Queen, which reverberated around the city.
Okay.
Okay, I can go on. You want me to go on?
Yeah, sure.
The closing ceremonies began earlier in the awarding of gold medals for excellence. Accepting 5 medals on behalf of the Krupp Works was the Countess von Schoenberg, bride of 5 months to the German military attache and the archetype of the fair-haired Rhine maiden. Okay, so they were married for 5 months. Okay. A gold medal was also awarded to the Societe Bacri Freres, which accepted by Emile Zobar, French military attaché. Hector del Guerra, military attaché to the Spanish embassy, stirred the large crowd with a magnificent speech. The affair was marred by several demonstrators supporting anti-arms placards. Okay, so anti-arms. Alexei Mycroft, Russian military attaché, was struck in the head by a tomato.
Okay.
No!
What are you doing?
Wasted food.
You don't like tomatoes?
I like tomatoes.
I don't like
They
tomatoes.
always. Okay,
I don't like them on sandwiches.
that's what it is.
I don't like sliced tomatoes. I don't like a lot of chunked tomatoes. I like it if it's concealed in like chili or something like that.
So these are other names that don't mean too much to us, really, right?
Well, just that they were foreign military.
Dignitaries
Personnels.
and-
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's foreign news here as well.
I think
So
we should.
foreign military people were at this thing. Could be an international conspiracy, boys.
So the SP-10A was for a naval gun.
Yes.
Right?
A new type of naval gun.
Special project.
Special
Which-
project. That's. Was that one of the ones they want to keep in house for?
Yes, it was just for the British
It was
government.
For
just
the
for the
Admiralty
British-
or whatever
yeah.
you said, right?
Yes.
Captain Egon
Aegon, yeah.
was behind it.
He was
He was in a meeting with.
Yeah.
So I did figure it out.
Okay.
He was he had been in several meetings, giving progress reports and stuff like that. Special report undertaken for the
What time was their
Admiralty.
meeting?
It was at 8:30.
8:30 p.m. 8:30 p.m. So he would have had a meeting with Captain Egon at 8:30 p.m. Do we know where that was? 'Cause I don't have a place for where they met there.
It would be in the case thingy.
And they had another meeting at 10, which I would assume is at 10 at night. So the fact that it's empty could have been that he gave information maybe to the captain about the naval gun. Maybe that's why it's empty, and maybe it wasn't actually stolen.
There is an Egon in the
remember
directory.
From the arms, was it from the arms trade affair? He got that.
He got
pink,
the letter.
Pink stationery, which he smelled and said, "Women will marry for a title, but not for love."
But they won't.
But they
fall
won't
in love for the
necessarily
title.
fall in love for one.
Yeah, so like he might have been having an affair with someone who was married to a lord or some important person, right?
Like Lord Raglan, the senior VP who was skipped.
I don't know where you're going with this, Eric.
Lord title, married for a title.
Yep.
So I mean, we got names of people on here. Can we question these people too? How's that work?
So you could go to the embassies. All the the Spanish embassy, the French embassy, all of them are listed in the book. But
Yeah, and they're all right around here.
yeah, they won't have personal addresses.
I think we should talk to the new president.
Oh, number 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Philip Marlowe.
Okay.
That's what I think we should talk to. And also we should try to talk to Egon maybe.
Would you talk to him at the Devereaux Street factory or at his home?
Hold on a sec. I mean,
I don't. Is he gonna be at either one?
let me read international.
He's probably at the factory.
I want to go wherever he is.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to his house. He's not there. We gotta go to the other place anyway.
Yeah, it is daytime, so he's probably at the factory.
If he's at the factory is at 12 Deverell Street,
Yeah, right there.
New Kent Road.
12 SE.
I'd like to talk to him. What other thoughts does everyone have?
I think he would be a good one to talk
I just
to.
kind of want to read this foreign news first.
Did we ever talk about the Spaniards thing? Meet me tonight, but it said 10 a.m. And then there's
Yeah.
a.
What was the lady that had been married for 5 months?
Countess von Schulenburg, bride of 5 months to the German military attaché.
Also, what was that lump in the cobblestone that Holmes noticed that was out of place?
No, the
No, that-
investigator was describing the corpse.
The
when
body.
he
Yeah.
came
whenever
across
he
it.
looked
That's
down.
just whenever he was
Yeah,
found the body.
he saw a
So-
lump and then he walked up to it and he realized it wasn't a lump.
I guess with what happened there. So he saw a lump in the road, went
Yeah.
up to investigate it, found the briefcase waist height,
Yeah.
which would make sense because it should have fallen
should have
close to
fallen-
his waist. He'd have
yeah.
been holding it, falling backwards.
The gun knocked him over that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The watch had been snagged, so
Yeah.
it still had a chain. So they didn't try to get it off; they just ripped it off.
So he's in a hurry.
So the watch is what they were really after. They might not have messed with the briefcase. That's why I was saying that maybe the SP-10 being empty had more to do with him giving information to the captain, maybe.
Maybe.
So if
They
we talk to the
found a-
captain, we might know what they're talking about with the
Did
SP-10.
they find a wallet outside the briefcase?
Yeah, 50 feet
did.
away.
Yeah.
'Cause
Empty.
Wasn't there also an empty wallet in his briefcase?
There was
No,
there was a
th-
bag of personal effects.
right.
The spectacles, the rings and stuff were in.
Yeah. So with his personal effects, they found the empty wallet, but that wasn't in the bag itself.
Yeah.
Then they also found a shed a few feet away, was where the guy that killed him was. Right? Took some shots at the inspector.
That's
and-
what they think.
And then ran.
No, he didn't take any shots to the inspector. He had
Okay.
already left by then. But he
Okay.
was waiting in there for.
The inspector just knew
Alan
that
to
he
come
had
out.
been there very soon because he felt the warmth in his hands.
Okay, I thought you said something about the shed and
Yeah, he surmised that he was hiding in the shed.
He was waiting for him, knowing that he was going to come down the alley, so he waited in the shed. Until
That's where he
shoot
thought.
him.
And then he
was
stepped
waiting.
out and shot.
Right.
And then if
Because
we
he found
combine
a
that
cigarette
with
in
the
there.
idea that someone in this business knew that he took that.
And you guys
alleyway.
found a cigarette there.
Yeah, cigarette
with
label
B&H on the
B.
cigarette. And
You can also look up tobacconist in there,
It's probably a good idea.
because it's not like today. There's not cigarettes at every gas station.
B and H, Benson and Hedges, 16 Northwest.
It was the knights who say knee.
All right. So where should we go next?
I know shrubbery.
Did you say you want to talk to number 2?
I kind of want to talk to the guy that
Marlowe?
replaced him.
Marlowe, yeah.
Marlowe, yeah.
Is what I was.
What was the
thinking.
full name? Countess von something? Schraffler or something?
Countess von Schollenberg.
Schollenberg.
Schul. But he was banging his girl.
Who was?
Alan.
Alan, yeah.
Courtney.
Alan was banging.
Schollenberg, yeah. That's what I think. Because she married for
A
a
title.
title, but she didn't fall in love for it. So I think maybe it might have been a thing where, like, hey, I know we're just married, but try to get information off this guy who knows a lot about British guns. And then it was a
Okay.
ploy like, oh, I don't actually love him, kind of thing.
So do
Kind
we
of
want to
betrayal in your
to
face.
her,
Uh,
or do we want to talk to someone else first?
we should talk to the businessman first.
Marlowe.
Talk to the
Marlowe.
guy that replaced him.
Yeah.
Try to see if there's anything from him that we can get. Maybe. I think he would have more reason because I feel like it would have been known that he was going to be the replacement over Lord Ragman. What was it called?
Yeah, and we also got to
Raglan.
remember the person who shot him was definitely seen to be an employee or former employee or
They would have
business
known.
associate or something.
Yeah, because they would have known. he
Pretty
would've-
much, yeah.
this-
It would have
he
been easy for
left
them
from
to
the
find
back.
out.
They would have known he left from the back.
Yeah.
Okay, so you
Let's-
want to go to the Deverell Street plant?
Yeah, I guess. So.
What do you think,
Wanna
Eric?
Do that?
Yep.
Sure.
If it comes around and ends up being the wife the whole time,
Then we'll admit that we were wrong.
Damn it!
what'd
All
you
right.
say?
That's why she. That's why
I said
she,
then we'll admit that we were wrong.
Oh, I thought you said, then we will admit that you were wrong.
You were
That's why-
wrong at first.
That's why she was so short with us and didn't give us any information.
Yeah, she's like a brilliant liar.
She's just hiding it.
Well, I was gonna say
Yeah.
we have no option. Like that's it, right?
Yeah.
With her. Like we can't.
Right.
Well, we
It's
have no
pretty
more
much being
information
like,
on her.
no, not here, idiot.
Yeah.
Somewhere else.
Like obviously, she's not going to give us any information.
Right.
Either she doesn't know it, or she does, but she's not sharing it.
That's what I was asking. Like, okay,
Well,
can they do
it
that?
said that it was convincing to the point where they had no further questions.
Right.
Yeah. So I imagine Sherlock Holmes would be like, okay, yeah, nothing there.
Okay.
So 12 Deverell
I was saying
Street,
she was guilty.
Yeah.
She would do the same thing, right?
the business plan,
Yep.
and hopefully we'll get to talk to what's his name.
All right, you want me to read it? It's 12 Southeast.
Yes.
We enter a typically grimy manufacturing environment of the Deverell Street plant. Lord Raglan ain't here, but I could show you to Mr. Kehoe's office. He's the governor's assistant. It is evident that Walter Kehoe has come up through the ranks and would be more comfortable in overalls than his present ill-fitting tweeds. With a meaty paw, he tugs at his shirt collar and asks us our business. Can you tell us anything about Mr. Allen's visit here on the morning of March 9th? Odd, I thought it was. So's I remember right enough, Mr. Allen comes to see his nibs, Lord Raglan. But he weren't here. Mr. Allen says he'll wait in the office. Do you know why Mr. Allen came to see Lord Raglan? Now, I wouldn't be knowing their business, but it was most likely about Project 10, it being secret and all. There was hangers-on around the plant, foreigners and whatnot. Do you know what transpired when Lord Raglan returned? What? Well, he never did return, leastways not before Mr. Allen left. I was called away, and when I get back, Mr. Allen, he hands me a note, says it come from Lord Raglan, and I was to be sure he gets it. He also says that he'll see Lord Raglan some other time, and perhaps it's best I don't even mention that he come by. Lord Raglan was on a bit later, stayed for a couple of hours and left for the day. Odd it was. A begrimed workman enters and informs Mr. Kehoe of some problem with a piece of machinery. I'll be back in a moment, gents. Why don't you wait in Lord Raglan's office? Left to our own devices, when Kehoe and the workmen leave, we can't but notice a drawer in Raglan's desk partially open, and of course we can't help but peek in. We do not discover much of interest, only a stack of invoices and a bundle of stock certificates. One of the invoices is from Radford, Jones and Company, for 140 guineas. It is dated September 5th, 1987, and stamped paid March 10th, 1988, the day after his death. The stock certificates are in 5,000 share denominations for several different companies, among them Rafferty Paper Mills and Stevenson Iron Works. We managed to close the drawer just before Kehoe returns. A little nick in the slats always does the trick. Now, where were we? That's a very impressive safe. All plans are kept under lock and key, to be sure. Would you take us to someone who could tell us about Project 10? Well, the only one around now that would be Richard Camp. He was an engineer on the project, not on anymore, but he can tell you a thing or two. Kehoe leads us back through the office and out into the corridor. The noise of the plant, curiously insulated in Raglan's office, grows stronger as we approach Camp's office. We knock and enter, but the office is vacant. He may be down on the line. Let me check. Kehoe's second absence gives us a chance to prowl around Camp's office. The desk is littered with plans and formula notations, none of which mean anything to us. Next to a cigar humidor is a framed photograph of a young woman. She is very pretty and with extremely long, dark hair, and she radiates a bright, dimpled smile. Somewhat blurred in the background is a vaguely familiar cathedral with 2 squared-topped towers. Before we can rummage further, Kehoe returns. Mr. Camp left early, it seems, not feeling well. Well, thank you for your time. So,
Well, shit.
familiar squared-topped towers, is that, shoot.
The Countess?
No, in France.
Notre Dame?
Notre Dame, yeah.
He's banging his wife.
Which ones? Who's banging who?
The young pretty woman.
Who's that?
Alan. He was banging Richard Camp's girl. The
Everyone's
engineer.
banging everyone.
He's
So we didn't get to talk to Lord Raglan or the guy that replaced him.
Or Richard Camp.
This place.
Philip Marlowe.
So Raglan, though,
Yeah.
he basically had a receipt in his drawer, right?
Well,
He was paid the day after.
he paid out shares that were from long ago that they paid out on the 10th, the day after
Yeah.
he died.
Because the work was done. It's complete.
Or because he knew stocks were going to plummet and he wanted to get paid out, maybe because of the shares.
I don't know anything about stocks.
Because they've plummeted after his death, right?
Right.
So you would want to sell them because you have a feeling they're going to plummet. Which, if you did that, I don't know how long it takes to sell shares. I don't know if you can just
So
do
you're
that.
saying, is it like insider trading?
Like, did he find out that he had died, so he's like, I better sell these before they become worth less? Or did he know he was going to die and he sold them and had it paid out?
Or he waited until he died and then bought them afterwards at a low cost.
Did
Because
he-
they're dated the day after he was found.
Yeah, but did he bought them or did he get paid from them?
I think he bought them because they were stamped paid March 10th, 1888.
Yeah, but I thought you said
I think
September.
it was.
You said they were around from
It is-
September, and then he, right?
One of the invoices is from Radford Jones and Company for 140 guineas. It is dated September 5th, 1878, or 1887 rather, and stamped paid March 10th, 1888.
So it sounds like someone bought something in September and
Long
finished
ago.
paying it off
Yeah.
the day after his death.
So they had ordered it.
5,000 shares.
Yeah, the stock certificates are in 5,000 share denominations of several different companies. So, it doesn't even say how many shares he has, but he's got a bunch. Rafferty Paper, Stevenson Iron Works.
I don't know. So where do we find? We got to go to Raglan's house and to Marlowe's house then in order to talk to them.
Raglan's house, Marlowe's house, and also Camp. He's home as well.
Camp's the engineer. on the gun, right?
Yeah.
On Project 10.
Right. And what other leads do you have?
We have the woman, which I presume to be the Countess. But
Why do you presume the Countess?
You mean the picture?
huh?
The
No, that's not her.
You mean
The woman that received the medal,
The
Okay.
German.
the
yeah,
German
the
woman.
German one.
Yeah.
Archetype of a fair-haired Rhine maiden.
And there's also Captain Egon and Spaniards.
Yeah.
Meet me tonight at Spaniards.
I guess it
10
really
a.m..
makes a difference of whether he actually passed off the progress reports to Egon or not.
Yeah.
Because then we can know whether it was stolen or whether it got to the
If
right
it
place.
was more of a business thing or if it was something else. Like
Yeah.
you could have just grabbed a watch, grabbed a wallet contents to make it look like a robbery when it's a crime of passion.
Yeah.
Or you can grab those and then steal business reports of something that you need.
Yeah. But leave the jewels in there to make it look like you didn't open it.
Yeah. You would figure like there were jewels inside it.
Well,
Is that what the
ring?
ring?
was his personal effects.
Like it was
so
something he wore, right?
It was probably something he
You'd
wore.
figure if they were robbing him for money, they would have taken the ring, the gold band, the watch, and the wallet. But it may have
Maybe.
just been a quick thing of just grab the wallet, grab the watch. Now it looks like a robbery.
Yeah. Maybe
And they
maybe
didn't-
someone who's like, oh, where's money kept? And the most obvious place is like the wallet, and then grab the watch because they see it, but they wouldn't necessarily check his hand for rings
Why
and stuff
take
like that.
just the watch and not the chain?
Well, they ripped it off, so the chain broke partially.
Also, the inspector guy found him fairly quick because his body was still warm.
His hands were still warm. Yeah.
Maybe he heard someone coming, so he didn't stay too long. So he just ripped it off rather than gently getting it
So
off.
the fact that there's a key in the is it incidental or
I mean, it could be that it wasn't related to business. There's a possibility. It's got to be either one, someone robbed him to try to make it look like a robbery, but then stole a single file from his briefcase, right? Because that's what they were after. Or the briefcase is more incidental that it was missing, because maybe his meeting with Captain Egon or whatever it is, maybe he gave him what was the contents of the file, and that's why it was empty. So that's just coincidental, and it was a crime of passion that covered up as a robbery.
the briefcase was also cut open, correct?
It had a
No,
gouge
it
in it.
was it was gouged, and there were scratches around the lock.
So I guess that makes it look like someone was trying to get into it.
Yeah.
I mean,
And the watch-
it's a top secret thing where
Maybe somebody
someone might have been
thought
trying
it
to get
was
into
like
it,
a regular.
or did get into it.
Well, it's
I don't
kind of
know.
like
leather-
the watch just ripped off, like almost like he was in a hurry. But like the scratch around the briefcase, I mean,
Well, the scratches around the lock would make sense if they
Oh.
went, grabbed the key, and they're trying to get the key in real fast.
Like
'cause they
hurried.
just killed somebody.
Yeah, especially if you're shaking.
they
and
thought the
adrenaline
lock
and
was for
stuff like
that?
Well, I mean, the key was for the lock
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
briefcase, but they were like trying to hurry. Like you were like go to put a key in, you missed it a couple times.
what if
Could
that's
make you in
just
a
an
hurry.
accumulation of him doing it over a period of time?
Well, they said it was a newer briefcase, though, right?
Yeah, he had just gotten
it.
it for him like a couple weeks ago or something.
So it's not very old. So the gouge in it's very weird.
Yeah. So like somebody maybe tried to like slash through it after they maybe they tried to slash through it. They couldn't get through the side of it because it was a good quality leather one. So they're like, okay, I need to get through this lock. It's like, does he have a key on him? He has to have the key on him. Carries it with him.
I still think the new president and Captain Egon are the top two that I want to talk to.
Okay.
I don't know what you guys think. Like,
Let's do it.
who else is
Yeah.
there to talk to?
Until we know more about where the documents went to.
Or what was maybe what the documents actually were. Like, they had been about
Yeah.
the naval gun, but
Yeah.
what about them? Were they blueprints?
Were they blueprints or were they just progress reports?
The only other
Yeah.
thing I think is weird is the whole Spaniards 10 a.m. thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for that, we could go to Spaniards.
I mean, we know nothing about that.
Just thinking, like all the embassies around here. There's an inn right here. This is Spaniards. Maybe he was meeting the woman. I don't know.
You really? Why are you stuck on the Countess?
I don't know. It's just little pieces of evidence. Just he was talking about the letter from the woman that he met.
He has a hunch.
after. Yeah, I just got a hunch. I got a gut feeling. I'm letting the evidence lead me, but I'm not like attributing. I'm not over attributing.
hunch is the detective's version of a scotch.
No.
No, scotches are terrible.
No, it's an
All right, so
Shoot, what's it
our
called?
top 3 things then are Spaniards, Egon, and new president,
yeah.
Philip. Philip? Is that right?
Marlowe.
Yeah, Philip Marlowe. What's Marlowe's first name? Do we know?
Philip.
Philip.
Nah, that's not like. Sorry, I saw that AM.
What's
I
his
was trying to-
birthday?
I was trying to think
that's
of
my
that.
own theory of who I think the woman is.
What's his mother's maiden name?
I just don't know now.
So if we go see Philip Marlowe, that's at 32 NW. Spaniards Inn's at 25 SW.
So go there, see if we can figure out if his wife has a name.
There's
Starts with an
so
S.
Because my
many-
theory was like, what if he was banging Marlowe's wife? AM stands for
And then he felt bad, so
Ashley
he
Marlowe.
chose him as his successor.
I
Or
don't
what?
know. I don't know.
Sorry.
I mean, maybe he was the best successor, but then he was also banging that guy's wife.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine he's banging a bunch of people.
I mean, he could
Maybe
be.
he's banging Philip,
I don't think
and
so.
that's why he got the promotion.
But AM could be Ashley Marlowe, you know?
Yeah.
And the reason he wrote AM was to be initials, not a
Or-
last name or a first name that would be more specific.
Or Anthony Mariano.
What does 10 mean though? Because she's so damn hot.
No, 10 p.m. But it looks like you're writing 10 a.m., but really you're writing 10 p.m. It's the same reason like Shane's like, that doesn't make any sense. Meet tonight, 10 a.m. That's weird.
I mean, is he giving this note to her?
No, it's just his notes for his schedule.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was in his little booklet.
It's like he writes it kind of
That's
in...
his first mistake. Shouldn't be writing that shit down.
Yeah, but
people
it's
will find it.
But it's in code.
Yeah.
Oh, we're figuring it out.
They didn't have Twitter back then to post where they were all the time.
Right?
Fucking.
They take it'd be so damn easy. We take a picture of what food he ate, put it on Instagram.
But that's one reason why I want to go to Marlowe, because I want to see if he has a wife.
All right, let's go there.
That's
Okay.
one reason. One reason I want to go to Egon is to know about the files.
The
and I want to go
files.
to Spaniards to see what they know about Spaniards.
I also want to see
Okay.
if he has a proton pack.
Marlowe?
Marlowe.
Let's go to Marlowe.
Marlowe, go.
okay.
Marlowe.
Marlowe should be 32 NW.
32 NW.
32 Northwest.
NW, 32, baby. 34, 35, 38.
32.
This is
I
terrible.
found it.
Coin? No, we need that one.
We need to keep this here? This is the wife. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
it
but
makes sense. We're going to come back to that, definitely. Okay.
I mean, it's your theory.
That's not my theory. I dropped it.
You did.
I said that at the
okay.
beginning because we were doing nothing. I'm like, let's go talk to somebody.
No, but you said okay. But if it turns out that this is the wife the whole time, I'm gonna be right.
You're right. I was being serious. Though. All right, what we got?
Read it.
All right. 32 NW.
Calvin. Why do we have Calvin this job?
You can give it to me.
Yeah, we could give it a... Rick does that thing where he like pauses like,
Look at
this
the
is
newspaper real
important.
quick.
A,
I've read everything
B,
twice.
C, D.
You
idiots!
I was paying attention to the arms
know what
dealer
I'm saying?
thing. I was paying attention to,
Yeah.
was there a golden pocket watch for sale, stolen somewhere, and it wasn't. The German woman from the arms, conference. It just doesn't get much information.
We make our way past the stacked luggage in the hallway to find Philip Marlowe in the center of the parlor swinging a golf club. A Mishy Nickblick by the look of it. He is a brisk man in his mid-40s. He informs us that he is on his way to the country estate of Mr. Clayton Partridge, and so brevity on our part would be appreciated. We ask him about his ascendancy to the presidency of the company. Al and I had an understanding on that score. Upon his retirement, I would take the office. In fact, it was the key reason I joined the company 3 years ago.
Key.
Sorry.
Mr. Allen was close to retirement then? Not by any means. Look, I cannot deny that I have mixed feelings about Allen's untimely death. It was tragic, and I feel outraged as any decent, right-thinking man would, but we were not personally close, and I do relish the chance to run the company. Where were you on the evening of the 9th? I played golf with Sir Clayton in the afternoon and went home with him to dine. Stayed till almost midnight. The butler enters the room with a...
Stop. Golf with Mr. Clayton?
Clayton Partridge.
Clayton Partridge. Sir Clayton Partridge.
So you gotta verify that.
No.
What?
Tarzan.
Clayton.
The butler enters the room with a valise in one hand and a shotgun in the other.
Shit.
Ready, Swinson? Well, I'm off.
He definitely wanted to get the hell out of there.
Yeah. And he doesn't seem too tore up about it.
No, he's like, it doesn't, Yeah, he's not torn up about the death.
He admitted it though.
Nothing about a wife.
I mean, they said they weren't close or everything, but
And they might not have been.
definitely seems to be in a good mood, swinging a golf club indoors.
But he
and-
picked him to take over his company.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could try to verify. I mean, if lose a point, but we could try to verify with Mr. Clayton Partridge. What is it? Whatever it is.
Partridge.
Partridge.
Yeah, Partridge, yeah.
To see if he was really with him until midnight, golfing and then hanging out with him until midnight.
Partridge Farms remembers.
Right.
Yeah, we could try to get some information from Spaniards as well.
Okay. So Spaniards are Mr.
There's Clayton, Spaniards, and Egon.
We should.
Egon.
So Clayton or Mr. or Spaniards.
Akon, what?
No.
Should we talk to like chief medical examiner at all? Like
Didn't know that
find
he
out.
got shot?
Well,
You got shot by shotgun.
He's shot
like
dead.
what kind of gun it is, and
Yeah.
like if there were any other things, like if he
Because
was
he had a shotgun.
poisoned.
It was a naval
I don't think it
gun.
was a shotgun.
Special.
I don't think so either.
They
but-
said he got knocked down from the
Yeah.
force of the shot.
So was it? Yeah. That's why. Originally, I was like, oh, it must have been a powerful gun.
Like, was it a dueling pistol?
A
and
naval cannon.
Mr.
Yeah.
Braxton.
Well, okay. So medical examiner. Do we lose points for talking to them?
Yes.
Every
I mean,
everyone,
every place we go.
The fewer places you can go and do it,
the better.
the better. Because you take yours, subtract it from Holmes's, and the difference times 10 minuses from 100.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've done 5.
I only have 4.
Oh, we done 4? Oh, we didn't. No, this is. We didn't
Yeah,
do
we
it.
haven't marked that
Damn
one
it.
yet. It's. I mean, we haven't gone there, but we marked it. So
When
we
did
know
we
where
mark
it
it?
is. So we know where it is.
You solved this in 4 cases.
Huh?
You solved this in 4 steps.
Me or Holmes?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I solved it in many.
Okay. I mean, I thought that's what you meant. Like you have 4. Okay.
No, we were at.
Yeah, we're at.
You are at 4.
Yeah, you're like, I didn't 4, but shit. I don't know shit right now.
And we've got a lot of working theories,
Okay.
so we need to start narrowing them down. I feel like
I think we need to verify his story.
Marlowe.
Like that's what you do. You follow up, you verify the story, and then we move on to the other lead.
I don't feel like he is as suspicious as
As the wife.
no, as the guy who. Shoot, what was his name?
If only you could call people, you wouldn't even have to go.
Right?
Yeah, we can keep all our points.
Spaniards is so far away.
We haven't done any of the other
Raglan.
things too.
Which ones?
I feel like
the checking of if they rented
Scotland
out
Yard
floors,
or-
Scotland Yard.
No, we have to.
What do you do with that?
Well, so, I mean,
Basically, you'll go there and Scotland Yard will tell you what they have.
they're pretty useful if you get stuck.
The chief medical
But also
examiner.
sometimes it might be integral to the case. So like if they were poisoned, for example, you might want to go to the medical examiner and figure out what was the poison, you know.
Gotcha.
So there's basically it's the coroner to tell us why they're dead.
Yeah.
The Scotland Yard will tell us what they found on their investigation of the body and stuff.
There are a few of them that are just informants that are basically hint givers if you get stuck.
Like Fred.
I think we need.
So it gives you more information, but adds a step.
yeah.
Gotcha.
I think we need to verify his story. He was where he said he was,
I mean, go
just to make sure.
Spaniards.
Just to make sure he's not a liar.
So far away, though.
So. It's not like we
Is
get
that more-
we
is
get
that
3
more-
steps or something.
Is that too? We just put
Good
a,
go.
put a coin there and we're there, right?
And you guys can eat while you're there.
Tell you what, if we get there and it's like, this person
Well,
said
they have
nothing of
good salsa.
importance. Again, for one of my things, I'll never say anything again.
No,
All right, let's do it.
All right,
do it.
You want to go
We're
Spaniards?
going to
Yeah, I
Spaniards.
think we need to verify his story
Okay.
first.
We have
We still got that. We can still do that.
40 minutes. So.
All right. 25 Southwest, right? That's the number? Yeah. All right. The proprietor of Spaniards Inn is a most cooperative fellow. For small consideration, while he consults his records, we wait in the bar sipping a glass of beer. 2 gentlemen with the initials AM reserved private rooms in the evening of March 9th. He tells us when he returns, Alexander Mishkin and Anthony Mariano. Can you tell us how to get in touch with them, which I mentioned Anthony Mariano earlier as a joke. But I want
Because you
that
read
on the
this
record.
already.
No,
You spoiling cheater.
I didn't. Can you tell us how to get in touch with them? I have never seen either man before or since. Can you describe them? Well, that's as may be. March 9th was some days ago. Again, we grease his palm. It never ceases to amaze us how effectively a quid can jar a memory. Alexander Mishkin was a giant of a fellow. He walked with a slight limp and spoke with an accent. He arrived at 8:30 and ordered supper. An English gentleman, about 30, I would say, joined him later. Also, both Mishkin and the Englishman carried identical briefcases. Curiously enough, Anthony Mariano also ate alone and was joined by another man. His reservation was for 9 o'clock. Could you describe Mariano? Oh, about the same age as the Englishman, 30-ish. Swarthy, shifty eyes, medium height. We thank him for his information and start to leave when he reminds us that we have not paid for our drinks. But then again, he adds, catching the black look Wiggum gives, throws him, jingling coins in his hand. Suppose we can just call it even. Okay, so...
Anthony Mariana.
And Alexander Mishkin.
Both with the initials of AM.
Yep.
So it wasn't 10 guys with AM. It was 2 guys.
Divided by 5.
Both got a room.
A room.
Yes.
39
One room.
EC.
Together.
Oh, no, both got a room.
Oh,
Because they had 2
both.
reservations.
No, they got a room.
No.
They both got.
They didn't get a room together. They each had a room with their own reservation. You want something interesting in this newspaper article?
Yeah.
The Wimbledon meeting. Last day of the competition in the first stage of the Queen's Prize was favored by better weather than the riflemen assembled in Wimbledon camp, right? It's been announced for some reason or another the annual and popular match between picked teams of the House of the Lords and House of Commons has been allowed to drop for the present year. Besides the competition for the Queen's Prize, the competition among the Indians and colonists for the valuable corporation's prize, and among the public school teams for the Ashburton Shield promise much excitement during the coming week. But they have here like their totals and points, and also like their shooting.
Yeah.
The top shooting is Partridge. Clayton Partridge.
House
Shot dead!
I'm still stuck on the fact that this team called themselves the House of the Lords.
No. The House of Lords and Commons is like Senate and House.
Damn.
Partridge is the guy that is golfing with the dude.
So he's a very
Yeah.
good shot.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So we question him.
that
Just saying.
proves nothing.
No.
Can I see that?
But you want
You give it to me.
I said to check for some things.
Wow, I found that. You didn't find it.
You had it during that part.
So, you know, I guess on that we could both verify Philip's story and ask him about, like, hey, man, I hear you shoot good for those.
We also now have the initials of these 2 individuals, one of which that will be able to help us, one of which that would not. So it's going to be a 50-50 on choosing that unless we find some other information. Also, it's no guarantee they're going to help us at all. We don't know why they met or what it was for.
No.
Maybe he was gay.
It's a rabbit trail.
I said that earlier.
Oh, did
No,
you?
you implied they had a room.
Oh, no.
I
Way
implied,
earlier.
Yeah, way earlier.
that he was gay by mentioning the Anthony Mariano
I thought
guy.
that was
No, you didn't. You were just messing
No,
with
that was the joke.
I
But
thought you
it's fine. Whatever.
I
flipped
said-
your
I
hand,
said it
that's supposed
before
to mean
you, though.
something.
Maybe it's Anthony.
It's sore. Stop. You know.
My hand's asleep.
All right, so
Okay, I cannot find
That's gotta be a thing.
Michigan in here.
Write that down.
It's,
Write it
it's
down.
by the Great Lakes.
Inflict sore. Aaron mistake or something.
But I can find Anthony Mariano.
well, interesting. Why would Michigan not be here?
Maybe he's using another name.
An alias.
If
Yeah.
they're not, if it is not in the archives, then it does not exist. It just does
That's not true,
exist.
Eric, because it did exist. They fucked us.
Yep. Okay.
All right, so Captain Egon, Clayton. Ironic because he does shoot very well.
Yeah, but it was 5 feet away.
It was 600 yards.
Huh? No. From the shed to Mr. Allen's body,
But what if he wasn't in the
5
shed?
feet.
Wonk,
Then
wonk.
why was he? Then why was there someone in there smoking?
Because it was just a shed. Someone was sneaking a.
I don't know.
What do they call it?
I never smoke in a shed.
Don't they call it a I don't want to say I'm afraid.
No one will go into a shed to smoke.
No,
They
they-
smoke outside.
What,
it was-
what were the
You don't
two
want more
names?
smoke though?
Michigan
No.
and Mariano.
Yeah,
Miliano.
Mariano.
Mariano.
My dad smokes his truck, leaves the windows rolled up, so he
Trying
can
to
just
hotbox
store
himself.
smoke. Yeah, so he does.
Okay.
What?
No, nothing.
No, what?
Nothing.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Shane.
Map sellers. Mapping. it's
All
right
right,
down
so
below. Sorry.
Captain Egon, Michigan or Marion.
I would like to talk to the
Or-
medical examiner and find out what kind of bullet actually killed Mr.
I
Allen.
think we would have solved this
If it was a
motherfucker in 30
rifle
minutes.
bullet, it would help a lot. Because
It
then,
wouldn't.
then we could go off your theory.
Let's go
of
to
it
Clayton
being-
first then.
Yeah,
Clayton?
Clayton first.
If we go to Clayton first, we can help figure out Philip Marlowe's story,
Clayton.
also what Clayton did. Although they could be,
In Coots.
what if he had Clayton kill him, and they were together?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't do that.
Like in the.
Gay.
Like in the gay.
All right, let's do that. Pursue it.
Okay. So
I'll play Mrs. Hudson.
We're not role playing.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
I want to get a better score than Sherlock.
I don't think it's possible. He probably did it in two. He probably went to the wife first, and then he figured it out.
He didn't go anywhere. He got it from the briefing.
Probably. But he'll double check stuff, just for fun.
He's not in here.
Who?
Clayton.
Really?
Nope.
Partridge.
Oh, that's right.
You
You
fuck.
guys kept calling him Clayton. I thought that was his last name. My bad.
Fuck.
Clayton
fuck.
Partridge.
I thought that was your job.
And
Like the family.
Partridge. I gave up.
60 Southwest.
Because of the wife.
What is it, Calvin?
60 Southwest.
Okay.
60 Southwest.
Southwest 60?
There. Right
That's-
there, fool.
That's
Left. There you go.
The 69.
69,
shit.
baby.
Damn,
Talk about Super 69.
Credit something.
It's in the Hams River.
Thames. I mean Thames. I mean Thames.
To Hames.
It's in the Thames. Tahamas.
Hey.
It's in the Tahamas River.
All right, what we got?
Probably nothing. What we got going? Haven't you even turned?
No, I was making notes so I can go back.
That's
there
why you
quickly.
separate the
Alan.
tasks.
Oh, I was grabbing the book.
I was trying to turn a page.
Southwest 60. Sir Clayton Partridge is a vigorous man in his late 50s.
Vigorous.
When we arrive at his home, he is directing 3 servants in the packing of his carriage. No, Mullins, put the fly rods on top, but only after everything is loaded. Cleaver, that cord will never do. Stouter stuff, man. Stouter stuff is needed. Where is my shot bag, Brimmer? You know I hate carrying shotgun shells in my pocket. Our interruption is not appreciated, but in the main, Sir Clayton is cooperative. He tells us that he is indeed a smoker of Benson and Hedges Imperials. Further, he is acquainted with Grant Arms Company. Philip Marlowe is an old friend and golfing partner. Played with him on the very day of Allen's murder. When did you finish your round? Late afternoon. Invited Marlowe home to dine. We were at it well into the evening. Brandy afterwards, you know. Must have been midnight when we parted company. So he smokes the same cigarettes as was found in the shed.
And is a fantastic shooter.
From 5
Of
feet.
course, we only know
600 yards.
And drinks brandy.
You can fire at 600 yards.
Yeah, she shot.
Let's look for brandy.
Brandy, you're a fine girl.
Brandy.
What a something.
Brandy song. I don't know the words or the tune.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, you guys are singing. I wanted to be part of it.
Fire at 600 yards was like bullseye in it every time. So
How large was
I
the
can't even
targets?
see a
Because
target
those
that's
could be like
600
100 feet
yards.
across.
How do we
No.
prove that they could be in cahoots?
I wish we could watch him
We need-
smoke
We need Egon.
and see if he crimps it evenly around the edge.
And if he has a mustache.
twirly one, a twirly mustache, like Calvin. Twirl it, Calvin.
What's your
Where next? Where to, Stephanie?
Medical examiner.
No, disassemble, Stephanie.
There's Egon. There's. I mean, right now we're going towards it's
Egon.
not related to him banging anybody,
Yeah.
That's
right?
There was a bang.
Clayton.
No one ever saw any woman or anything. They just assume.
But
It could be using
he
that.
did have a letter.
Assume I kick your
Assume I
ass.
kick your ass.
Someone kick her ass. I mean,
I don't want
sure.
trouble. Sorry.
No, this bad for you. Throws it down.
What's up? I'm not gonna
No.
Just say.
All right.
guy just freaks
Medical.
out.
You guys want to go to medical examiner then?
Yeah.
Is that what everyone
Yeah.
wants to do?
I
No,
would
well,
kind of
I-
like to
I don't
just so we're sure.
Want to go if it's not going to help us.
I know.
All right.
That's how I feel.
Well,
I think they were gonna go there and be like, "You're shot, dead." And like, "Thank you."
But
where's the?
I always love talking to Molly.
I don't. What you want?
Molly got the big ass titties.
Did she?
No. She's kind of average.
All right. So
She's
there's
supposed to be,
Scotland
though.
Yard. The examiners.
I thought she
were-
was pretty.
Ooh, Admiralty.
Rick, you're average. No, just kidding.
chief medical examiner.
It's in the front of the thing, Calvin.
Calvin, you fool.
In that
No.
list of
Oh yeah.
dozen or so.
No.
No.
No. No. Richard. What was his name? It's not Richard, is it?
What?
What?
In Independence
Palpatine.
Day. Independence Day. David.
Ran-
David. That's it.
Yeah.
Randy Quaid.
No. What?
38 EC.
Call my mother.
Oh, yeah.
38 EC.
Okay, I'll find it. You read.
Okay.
But.
Did you watch
Find 38.
Resurgence yet, Aaron?
You fucking lazy asshole.
Did you watch Endless Page?
No.
EC 38. Shane, where's 38? You're really good at this. 37. Why's 38 way down here? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Stupid.
37's right there. That's 73.
It's upside down!
Motherfucker, you're right side up, bro. But that's what's funny. You're laughing at that.
All right. 38 EC. Sir Jasper Meeks explains that Allen was shot in the chest from a close range, from a distance of 2 feet, no more. There were extensive powder burns on his overcoat. Do you have the bullet? No, but it must have been of large caliber. The exit wound was massive. So it was a high power.
It's a naval gun.
No.
Less than 2 feet
I
away.
feel like we knew all this.
Well, we know
Well, now
that-
we know it's nothing. Nothing there.
we know that it was a high power cartridge.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we knew it had to
Killed
be
him.
fairly high powered to knock him over. Right
Well-
from the get-go, right?
That's what I thought, but it could just be one of those shots they fall down, you know?
I mean,
Yeah.
it would have had to, like, killed him. When
Well,
hit.
it also makes a difference of whether it was a shotgun or a high power rifle, which in this case it was. It passed through.
And who uses high-powered rifles?
Clayton.
Fucking white.
Sounds like your Donald Duck impression. Can't
You do it through your cheek.
You sound like Slayer.
So, is your last lead Captain Egon, or do you have anything else?
Egon.
Or are you ready
Wait,
to
what?
solve the case?
Should we go to the estate? The where they golfed and see if there was any.
We're the
record of them?
police. We just arrest anybody.
Yeah,
You're-
just frame someone.
Like
We're
Scarf.
not the police. We're just
My
investigators.
dad.
Like, Holmes isn't a
Police. I'll just arrest innocent
isn't a cop. I mean, how can we go to prove if it was Clayton? We gotta find his cigarettes.
Uh-huh.
You can go to the tobaccery.
The cigarette.
tobacconist?
The cigarette
Tobaccery.
could be the thing that could prove it.
Tobaccery.
Tobacconist.
Tobaccery.
What'd you say?
Tobaccery.
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 Dude, you smoking some stuff.
Wolf. Cigars.
16 Northwest.
Okay.
Is that what we're gonna do?
I've
You guys
already
think?
written it
Yep,
down.
let's go.
Damn it, Rick.
Let's go. We can fill our pipe.
Find 16, Eric.
I mean, you've already drank. You might as well smoke too.
1, 2,
12,
3, 4,
17, 16.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There it is.
It always is. Like, usually I'm the one looking through the book, and like, you just get this pit in your stomach when it's a really short, like one
Yeah.
sentence. You know, it's like, damn it.
Yeah.
Like the wife.
I'm pretty sure there's one in there. Something like, only a fool would have looked here, or something.
A
felt so
salesman
bad.
identifies the cigarette as that of a Benson and Hedges Imperial. It is quite an expensive blend of Turkish and Virginia tobaccos. Very strong, yet very smooth. It's not a cigarette for the casual smoker, but rather for a connoisseur. Imperials are made to order, are they not? Oh, but of course, the Imperials is a relatively new brand, and the client list is very small and exclusive.
Ooh, good.
May we see that list?
Good.
The salesman reaches under the counter and pulls out a small ledger. The list has the following 12 names: Henry Higgins,
Henry Higgins.
Lord Henry Raglan,
Just you
write
wait.
it down?
Oh, shit. Raglan.
I got the VP.
Damn.
I told you.
Gregory-
I told you that was him.
Gregory Cardiff, Chester Carley, Emily Zobar, Gilbert Welch, Montgomery Eustace, Count von Schulenburg, Rudolph Noble, Richard Mainhart, Richard Camp, and Sir Clayton Partridge.
Clayton.
Senior.
Clayton Partridge.
Clayton's in it too.
Clayton's in it too. So we have
Clayton.
Clayton and the senior VP, the guy that got skipped over.
Raglan.
And
said it
freaking
was-
Count von Schulenburg.
You said it. That was nothing.
No, it's nothing.
And
Count von
And
Schulenburg.
the Countesses.
That's my lane.
And
no,
Count von Schulenburg, the arm straight thing that I read.
Yes.
And I was like, I brought
you
up his
read
wife,
it. You read it, but I put it together.
but I read it
Guys,
because
guys,
I read
guys,
it because I said
guys,
that.
this is
the wife.
wow.
I'm telling you.
Guys, the problem though is it's bad because that gives us like
It's-
3 people
yeah,
off
it
those
gives us-
cigarettes.
yeah.
and Robert Camp,
I'm glad.
the engineer.
I'd rather
Richard Camp, 4 people.
Oh,
That gives
sorry.
us 4.
I like that Henry Higgins is top of the list.
Richard is his brother.
Okay.
So just Lord Raglan.
Richard
Schulenburg.
Camp and Henry Camp.
And no, it's
The thing
Courtney,
we
isn't
know,
it?
the thing we
Yeah.
do know,
Okay. Henry
There
or
wasn't a
Richard
wife.
Camp
Is
is
that
on this
cl-
list.
that's
I never said
Courtney's
it was
brother.
the wife.
All right.
I said we
Huh?
needed to get information from. What do you know?
okay, the thing we know though is that Clayton smokes these, is friends with Philip, and also can shoot
Yes.
with a high-powered weapon
The
that can
high-powered
shoot up to 600 yards.
Yeah. But is that confirmed that was Clayton Partridge in that article, or just a Partridge?
No, it is Clayton Partridge.
It did say Clayton
Yeah,
Partridge.
he's in the scoring of it.
Okay.
Have you talked to Lord Raglan yet?
No, we
We
never
have
saw
not.
him. He wasn't in the
haven't met
place
him.
you sent us, Rick.
I saw.
Oh, is he? Does he have a home address?
Probably. Is his name Raglan and just first name's Lord?
Lord. Well, I mean,
Lord Henry Ragland. Ragland.
Raglan, Lord Henry, 56 Southwest.
56 Southwest.
is that,
Okay.
is
Right
that
here.
where you're going?
See, I had this idea to go to the tobacco thing earlier because you threw it out when no one else did. I'm like, maybe you're trying to give us a hint, but then we just didn't go there for a long time because it didn't seem obvious.
Well, I mean, it was going to be something that we were going to have to do.
Yeah, but I was like, well, we'll do that after we do this stuff.
Okay.
We should have did it first.
56 Southwest. Lord Raglan's man, Bunting, admits us to the residence and shows us into the study to wait. We are almost as impressed by Lord Raglan's establishment as we were with Lord Raglan himself when he arrives. At 30, he is the picture of the English gentleman, impeccably groomed, with a grace and style at once attractive and forbidding. The introductions completed, he separates himself from us by walking to the other side of the desk. Seating himself, he asks us to begin. Before we can, however, he notices an envelope on the desk and immediately calls for Bunting. Drummond's has slipped up again. See that this is posted immediately. Excuse me, gentlemen. Debit where a credit should be, or something, some such. Please begin. On the night of Mr. Allen's murder, he had an appointment with Captain Egon. Yes, the purchasing officer for naval ordnance at the Admiralty. We were working on a secret project for the Admiralty, and Courtney was concerned about one of the engineers, Richard Camp. Being a security risk, we discussed it that morning. I gave no credence to the idea. Lord Raglan pauses to reach into a small silver box from which he draws a cigarette
Cigarette.
Yeah.
draws
They're-
forth
they're
a
new.
cigarette which has a BH imprinted on it in gold leaf. He inserts it into an ebony cigarette holder, lights it, and leads back. Without our prompting, he continues. No, Camp is a fine fellow, but as a concession to Egon, I removed him from the project and assigned him elsewhere. Tragic, Courtney's death. To think that I had intended to stop by the offices that evening, but was forced to work late at the plant. If I had, perhaps the thief would have thought twice before tackling two of us. Were you disappointed about not being named president? You were, after all, senior vice president. Not a bit of it. I am quite happy in my work in the technical areas. Administrative matters do not interest me. Besides, one of Marlowe's conditions of employment was that he succeed Courtney when Courtney retired. Of course, that would have not been for many years. Thank you, Lord Raglan. So he inserted it into a cigarette holder, which would crimp it evenly.
I don't think it's Raglan.
Yeah, and he has no motivation really. To do
No.
it.
Unless he was in on all three of them.
No, I don't think so.
No?
I would
Like
go- I
gay?
would-
I mean, it's less likely than
Huh? No.
I think that rules
What?
out Raglan. I think Clayton, maybe Camp, if he was upset with being moved or whatever they had because of a security risk. But why would he be a security risk?
Because he is
Maybe-
banging a foreign official.
A countess.
Maybe his daughter.
Von Schoenberg. That's who
or
it is.
Maybe his daughter or something.
Clayton has
is-
shown out all these like red
How-
herrings. You know what I mean?
red herrings.
Like
They, I mean,
I'm- I
do you
mean-
think that they're tricks to trick us?
I mean, it's like
mean,
right here on a
false
fucking page.
leads.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm saying, but
if it
there's-
was, but if I was right, then I would have been right about that. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, there's 3 pages. One of them we found so far to have some kind of information.
What did you say about the cigarette
It crimped it evenly.
at the crime scene?
Yeah, it was evenly crimped, is what it said.
The crime scene was evenly crimped?
And the cigarette.
The cigarette. around the-
At the crime scene,
Yes.
the cigarette.
Yeah.
I thought it
evenly
was-
crimped.
So it could have been him.
That's what I'm saying. It could have been him because he stuck it into a cigarette holder.
I thought you
I
were.
thought it was the opposite.
Yeah, I thought you were saying
Yeah, but he
that.
has no. It seems like he doesn't have motivation. Unless, like you said, he's in all 3 of them, and they have this little conspiracy. Why?
Reread the 12 Deverell
12 Deverell. Okay.
place. What did they?
I don't want to do anything to
12
solve this
southeast.
motherfucker. How much time we have?
30 minutes.
25 minutes.
Yeah.
Um,
12 SE was the place.
we enter the typically grimy manu. Is there a specific part you wanted to hear, or just all of it?
I just want to know: was there anything about Raglan and
me
Camp
call you on your phone.
that would have helped with anything? Like he said that he spent extra time there.
Yeah.
Does who are we talking to? I forget the guy's name. But did he-
Lord Ragland was in a bit later, stayed for a couple hours, and then left for the day. Odd. And then the guy comes in and tells him about the problem with the machinery, and he leaves. And we look around and find
The shares and
the
stuff.
share certificates.
But there's nothing that. So there's nothing there that confirms that he was there at the plant late. Right?
Raglan?
Yes.
I mean, it said that he stayed late.
It
But I
does
mean,
say-
he
yes.
was shot right outside the plant.
no, he was shot right outside the
The offices.
Yeah.
Which though, let's see. The offices were up here.
At
right?
number,
5.
yeah, number 5.
The plant.
It's way down there.
Yeah,
It's down
it's
here.
12 southeast. So don't think he could have gotten there in time.
If he was definitely there that late, then no, I don't think so.
Yeah. So I don't think it was Raglan. Just based on the time.
Looking at Philip Marlowe's.
Because
What?
I was just trying to think of like which way they would have had to go to get a taxi, because they specifically said like he had to leave a certain way to get to the busy streets quicker so that he could hail a taxi easier.
Eric, can I have the casebook?
The Philip Marlowe's. Go to his again.
Marlowe is
32
32,
Northwest.
32 Northwest. Okay. Well,
Raglan.
we could talk to Egon. We could try to find anything more about the Schollenbergs. We could try to talk to Camp.
Well, we haven't talked to Egon yet. Egon and Camp.
You want to talk to them?
We've had both of them mentioned by a couple people.
Egon.
Perhaps seeing Egon would give us information about camp as well. Although seeing camp would give us information about camp and the project that he worked on, because he was an engineer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Who was removed.
He was removed from the project because of
a security risk. Why would he be a security risk?
maybe because he has foreign connections.
And this is a secret project.
23 Northwest. Yeah, but everybody basically knew about it. It's just the specifications that was kept secret, right?
But this guy was removed.
Yeah, but why would he be a security risk, though? What would make him a security risk? Maybe we should talk to him. There was a picture of someone with weird square cathedral place behind him.
Which I feel was Notre Dame
Why?
because of the two squared towers on the top of the cathedral. It's very similar to Notre Dame, unless I'm very wrong and I don't know European.
Churches.
Yeah.
What does Notre Dame have to do with anything?
I don't know, it's a football team.
I know the church in France.
Yeah, but it was behind the girl that was in Camp's office.
Why Notre Dame, though? Why would that help us?
I don't know. Maybe she has connections with foreign military or foreign government. Maybe they felt that because he was a technical engineer on the project that he might let things slip. I don't know.
Well, maybe we should talk to Camp.
Okay.
What do you think, Eric?
Camp or the other one?
There's Egon. There's Camp. We have... Where's the tobacco plate? Right here?
Back
right
in
there?
this? Yeah, right there.
Let's go see Camp.
Okay.
Let's try that.
Is at 23 Northwest.
Because the one thing we know, whoever shot him had to have been one of these 12 people, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's one thing we know.
we think.
The names on here that we've heard already have been Clayton, Raglan, Camp, Count von Schulenburg. I think
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, we haven't heard any of those other names
All right,
yet.
let's go check out Camp.
Okay, Camp. We find Richard Camp in the sitting room of his bachelor apartment, nursing a cold and looking thoroughly miserable. As he pours a spoonful of Dr. Sari's magic elixir, he is seized with a fit of sneezing, causing the liquid to spill down his shirt front. Blast! He curses. He flings the spoon across the room and takes a slug straight from the bottle. Ill health puts me in an ill temper, he says, by way of apology. We're sorry to inconvenience you, but we would like to ask you a few questions. Would you tell us why you were removed from Project 10? Lord Raglan simply assigned me elsewhere. Since Project 10 was well along, he felt I would be more useful in other areas. He also mentioned that my visits to the French embassy had been misinterpreted in those quarters. Perhaps it would have been a political move. Your visit to the French embassy? I am secretly engaged to the daughter of the vice consul. Her father is a most difficult man. Her uncle, Emile Zobar, on that list,
Zobar's here, yeah.
is the military attache. He visits there where his visits there were ostensibly to see him. Both Mr. Allen and Lord Raglan were well aware of the real reasons for my visits. Did you ever discuss Project 10 with Monsieur Zobar? No, I would never. And where were you on the evening of the 9th? I met Annette, my fiancée, at Rules. We took several hours to dine, and then I brought her home to the embassy. Just one more question, Mr. Camp. Do you smoke Benson and Hedges Imperials? No, I don't. They were a favorite of Emile Zobar's, though. I gave him some for his last birthday. Why do you ask? Just following up on our leads. Thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Camp. Hope you're feeling better soon. So there's some political connection there with his fiancée, not his daughter. I just assumed because she was young, but
France. What's in France?
The French.
Notre Dame.
Oh.
Dame.
Dutch.
Who did you just talk to?
Camp.
Camp.
Robert
Henry
Camp.
Camp.
Okay. Henry.
Richard Camp. Shit.
No, it's Robert.
Yeah.
Robert Camp.
Richard Camp.
Rick, you lied to me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I wrote it down wrong over here.
You're like, Richard is the brother. I'm like, oh, so Robert.
Everyone should be Richard. It's a great name.
All right. Camp does not smoke, or so he says.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't know if these people are lying to us.
But he is
Could it
suffering
be
from a cold.
Could it be for hiding in a shed for hours
Maybe. I don't know.
on a cold night?
So there's 3 of these guys in this shed. One is smoking,
So
one is coughing,
so
and the
Camp-
other is waiting to shoot.
So Camp does not smoke the cigarettes. He claims that he bought them for his fiance's father,
Yeah.
Zobar,
Who's on
Right.
that list?
who is on the list that also buys the cigarettes,
Yeah.
who smokes them. So if what Camp is saying is true that he doesn't smoke them, it should take him off the list of being a suspect.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, can these people just lie? Not even with this game, we can't ask questions.
I mean,
or
we can
fix
find
it.
it's like
I mean,
that one game that we played.
You
find
can
the
look for
inconsistencies.
contradictions in what they say.
Contradiction, that's the game.
That doesn't match the evidence that you have.
We could try talking to the Zobars.
Well, did you talk to
Egon?
Schoenberg?
No.
No, we haven't talked to Schellenberg yet.
That's the German embassy.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
hasn't been a lot of connection with him.
Not a whole lot.
And there's Captain Egon.
We still
There's
need
the
to talk
French
to,
embassy.
Yeah.
Let's talk to Egon.
I mean,
Emil Zobar.
it
We
could
got
make
15
sense
minutes.
the Zobar thing because there was a security risk possibility. Someone that was working on it, who was one of the lead engineers, got switched off to another one because they no longer had information. Possibly, could it be that they killed him for that information?
Who was the one that got him removed?
Raglan.
Yeah, Raglan and Allen both decided to move him.
Alan wanted him removed because of a security risk, I think. And then Raglan moved him to a different project. They didn't fire him or anything. They just moved him to a different project.
They said it was a security risk, but he said that he just wasn't interested, right?
Well, maybe they didn't know.
It says Lord Raglan simply assigned me elsewhere. Since Project 10 was well along, he felt I would be more useful in other areas.
And who said that he was removed because he was a security
He also
risk?
mentioned that my visit to the French embassy had been misinterpreted
In some
in some
quarters.
quarters.
So Raglan knew the real reason.
Raglan knew that it was a security risk.
No.
Raglan and Allen both knew that they were visiting, or he was visiting his fiancée.
Yeah, the French embassy.
So if they both knew, who removed him because of the security risk?
He said Lord Raglan
No.
assigned me elsewhere.
I know, but who asked for him to be moved? If they both knew the real reason. It was said earlier. Not in that paragraph, I don't think. I think it was when you were talking to Raglan.
Yeah, they said about
Oh,
Alan
it
had
was,
been talking
Captain,
with
wasn't it?
Captain
It was
Egon.
Captain Egon asked for
and
the
they've been
transfer.
worried about his security risks, so they moved him. And then Raglan was one that put him on a different project.
Right. But both Courtney and Raglan knew the real reason.
Yeah.
But they did it to humor Captain Egon.
What do you mean knew the real reason?
They both knew that he was going to the French embassy to visit his fiancée.
Or at least
But
that's what he...
in some quarters, it was misinterpreted as he would be making a political move to give secrets to the French.
So they knew he was going there for a woman?
Yes.
Yes.
And it said that because why?
Both Mr. Allen and Lord Raglan were well aware of the real reasons for my visits.
Okay.
So, back to Egon.
Yeah, let's talk to Egon and then see what we can do about solving it. Right?
So that's our two main leads now, I guess, with like Schulenberg being way in the back.
Okay, go.
You wrote out. We wrote
Where's
out
the-
Clayton Partridge.
Who has the book?
We wrote out Clayton Partridge.
47
No.
Northwest.
Okay. He's not ruled out.
40. Okay. We are told by Captain Aegon's landlady, whom we suspect was once a bosun's mate on a man of war, that he is at the Admiralty.
Well, fuck.
Oh, just a waste.
I won't count that one.
Go to the Admiral.
I would appreciate
The Admiralty's at 10 SW.
10
That's
SW.
Southwest.
Nah, I hate that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no phones. Fuck. Captain Aegon is a small bulldog of a man. He paces back and forth behind a massive oak desk as if he were a quarter-deck railing. 8 months ago, Allen came to my office with the designs of a new naval gun. Revolutionary in concept. Can't say much about it. Most secret, don't you know? The design was approved and money's advanced for its development. Can you tell us anything about the meeting Mr. Allen was to have with you on the evening of his murder? Captain barks out a name, unintelligible to us, and an aging lieutenant, long since beached upon the promotionless shores of paperwork, scurries into the room. Bring me the Grant Arms Company file. Allen sent me a wire this morning, quite vague. Closed-mouthed fellow was all when all is said and done. He was worried about security for Project 10. I know, but I wouldn't say much about it. His responsibility, he'd taken care of it. Of course, I put some of my men on it anyway. The lieutenant returns with a file and is dismissed, for the time being, back into oblivion. The captain shows us first the wire. It reads, "Meet tonight, 8:30, your office. Call out the guard. Pounce at 10. Then he shows us a detailed list of activities of Richard Camp, a development engineer on Project 10. As you can see, he was always bringing boxes and bundles to the French embassy. Emile Zobar, French military attaché, has his offices at the embassy. So you believe Mr. Allen's wire implied that he had information implicating Camp in a security breach of Project 10? I did, still do, but Lord Raglan, head of the project, assured me that Allen's security fears were unfounded. We met 2 days after Allen's unfortunate death. As a precaution, he told me he would remove Camp from the project. Okay. 2 days after Allen's death.
Keep going. Read the rest.
Okay. Since the conversation, I've concentrated my efforts on Zobar, von Schulenburg, Delgera, and Mycroft. Their governments would all have great interest in the new gun. So far, my men have uncovered nothing. Thank you, Captain. Okay.
Where's the director at?
Directory. Okay. Yeah, sorry. So who do we want to talk to now?
So he wasn't removed from the project till after.
Yeah.
That's why we couldn't find Mycroft. It's Mycroft, not Mycroft.
Oh.
M-E-S.
It was definitely M.I. in the thing. Oh, Mishkin. Alexander Mishkin. That's why. It's a different name.
Alexei Mycroft, Alexander Mishkin.
Yeah, definitely an alias, I would say.
Zobar, maybe.
Monsieur Zobar.
He said he has suspects of
Since the conversation, I've concentrated
Zobar.
my efforts on Zobar, von Schulenburg, Delgera, and Mycroft.
I mean, there's some arms trade fair stuff in here with Zobar. What's the first name? Emile?
Emile, yeah.
Okay, I'll start from the middle. The closing ceremonies began early in the awarding of gold medals for excellence. Accepting 5 medals on behalf of the Krupp Works was the Countess von Schulenburg, bride of 5 months to the German military attaché and the archetype of the fair-haired Rhine maiden. A gold medal was also awarded to the Societe Bacri Frères and accepted by Emile Zobar, French military attaché. That's the only thing on him. Well, hold on. Hector del Guerra, military attaché to the Spanish embassy, stirred the large crowd with a magnificent speech. The affair was marred by several demonstrators sporting the anti-arms placards. Alexei Mycroft.
Mesh or Mish? Spell it.
M-E-S-H.
Okay.
Mycroft and Mishkin.
Mycroft, Russian military attaché, was struck in the head by a tomato.
I mean, the only thing I think of to see is the Zobar, which is at the embassy. Probably best to go to the French embassy. And then we could try, after that, maybe, depending on what we learn from there, go to the Schubergs, or whatever they're called, which are probably at
Schulenburg?
like the German embassy or whatever.
Yeah. So we've got the French embassy here.
We should probably go there. try to figure out what Zobar says. Right? Because he wasn't removed until after, which seems odd.
2 days after.
Unless there's some shares and it's Raglan and Camp somehow involved with it. Maybe. I don't know. I'm really not sure.
So, you guys just talked to the captain.
Bank, right? Oh, yeah, the captain.
Yeah, you just talked to Captain Egon at the Admiralty.
Egon. And on the island, I just had...
So
So,
close to my eye.
what are your remaining leads?
We need to go to Zobar.
Zobar.
And that's
Zobar?
the French embassy?
The last things that I think we need to look at are either Zobar and or Schulenberg.
That's a
Schulenberg.
long name. Schulenberg.
Yes, my name be Schulenberg.
The Count von
They call me
Schulenberg.
Schulenberg.
There's no L in there, is there?
Stokes.
Yeah.
Mariah Stokes.
See, now you can go in that. Call me now for your free reading.
Okay, so we gotta question him about. See if he really smokes, right? Is that what-
Well, Camp said that he did not smoke
Yeah,
BNH.
so he gave him the Zobar.
He bought them for his fiance's dad.
Yeah,
right.
his in-law. Yeah, basically.
So we should probably go to the French embassy and see what we can learn from there.
Does someone have the directory?
Schulenberg, yeah, he's a German one, right?
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
Calvin had it last I saw.
Maya.
Where's the newspaper?
Maya.
It's right there in front of you.
Maya. All right, we're going to France. Let's do it.
French embassy's right there.
59 Southwest. Turn page. Turn page, Calvin, turn page.
All right. We are shown into the office of a busy little man who twirls the end of his mustache on one end, while he shuffles paper with the other. He barely looks up to inform us that Emile Zobar is not in his office today, but starts violently at the mention of Richard Camp. Do I know Mr. Rich... Who? As he hems and haws a moment or two, a compact man of medium height enters. He breaks off in mid-sentence as he sees us. Pardon me, he says in English. I am Paul Zobar, Vice Consul. May I be of service to you? Before we can reply, the little man explains in a flustered mixture of French and English that we are on our way out and the matter is a trifling one anyway, unworthy of the Vice Consul's attention. Satisfied, Zobar drops some papers on the desk and leaves the room. I'm afraid I have no more time for you. If you wish to see Emile Zobar, I suggest that you call his home. Good day. As we are about to leave, a lovely young lady enters. Wiggins bows low to her, sweeping his derby across his body. He is immediately rewarded with a wide, dimpled smile and a curtsy. Before he can advance his cause, however, the young woman calls out, "Papa!" and races down the hallway towards Paul Zobar.
So he's out there.
He's not there, but apparently this little man here knows him.
Reacting
Knows-
violently to Richard Camp.
Yeah.
Is the girl significant, or is that just distraction?
I don't know. Something about the way Calvin reads, I can't retain the information.
Sorry.
No, I'm kidding.
It's not like when Rick reads and he slows down at important parts.
A little girl comes out.
Well, you emphasized it, so that's what I was wondering. Like,
Well, it also would give Rick something to do.
We have Emile Zobar.
what?
If we had Rick read him.
41 WC.
What about Richard Camp?
We've already talked to him.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
We talked to him before the captain.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. I guess took a break.
41 WC would be Emile, which we could talk to him since we didn't get much from there. Emile Zobar is the one who smokes B&H. Good job, Rick.
B&H cigarettes.
Yeah, he's the one who smokes the cigarettes.
41 WC.
Should we do that?
Yep. Tell you what, Sherlock beat us already. Okay, let's
We know.
figure
Yeah.
it out.
We know. I just want to solve it.
All right, we're going to 41 WC.
Okay.
Are
We find Emile Zobar at home, ill in bed. His housekeeper, who finds nothing like our image of a French maid, who looks like nothing,
Again.
who looks like nothing like our image of a French maid, shows us the way. We are sorry to disturb you, but nonsense. It is a slight indisposition, and your company is quite welcome. To be frank with you, I am bored to tears. He snaps shut a copy of Alice in Wonderland and reaches into the drawer of his bedstand. He withdraws a cigarette case, which he opens and offers to us. We decline, but we still can't help but notice the gold leaf B&H. Shut the door, if you please. My housekeeper will fuss to no end if she sees me smoking. Would you tell us where you were on the evening of March 9th? Yes, the night of Monsieur Allen's death, I was in Simpson's playing chess all evening. Do you know Richard Camp? But of course, he is employed at the Grant Arms Company and is secretly engaged to my niece, Annette Zobar. Why secretly? Because my brother is a most narrow-minded individual, odd for a Parisian, admittedly, but he shrugs. He has a strong dislike of you English. Being a most diplomatic diplomat, he is able to keep it well hidden. Such might not be the case should his only daughter marry an Englishman. I, on the other hand, like and admire the English very much, Richard in particular. And since I am also inordinately fond of my niece, I agree to involve myself in their conspiracy. Has Mr. Camp ever talked to you about the special project on which he was working? One of the qualities I admire most about the English is their profound sense of loyalty. Richard possesses that quality in the extreme. So no, my association with him is purely social. Within the situation I have already explained. We thank Monsieur Zobar for the time and wish him a speedy recovery. At the bottom of his stairs, on our way out the kitchen, we hear two female voices conversing in the kitchen. We catch a glimpse of a well-dressed woman whose name, Lady Hilda, stands out from the jumble of French spoken by the housekeeper. We are uncertain of the last name, but it is one syllable and begins with an O or possibly an H. Considering the French difficulty with the letter, curiously, as she sees us, she quickly darts out of view.
I see that. I want to skim over it again.
What?
What you just read.
The case book.
Well, what is it again?
41 WC.
So what were they saying? They were talking about what?
The housekeeper and the woman?
Yeah.
Well, they were talking in French. It was difficult to pick out.
What's our image of a French maid?
Maid?
Just
Just
think
like-
of a regular
think
maid,
of a
like-
French
like-
maid
I think of
costume.
Max from Black Sails.
It's
No.
like a
Sure.
a sexual
French maid-
fantasy. What
well,
she's saying
a
is
real
that
French maid has a black and white uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think of.
what
Yeah,
they're saying is
that's
that
it.
she's
That's
not
it.
attractive.
She's not the image of a French maid.
Yeah, I was
when
wondering what you
think
guys
of a
saw
French
in it.
maid. What?
I was thinking of
I-
a fucking Asian, 300-pound man. That's what I was thinking.
I was thinking
What
of
do
the
you think?
I was thinking of the maid from Clue, the movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah. Remember that shit.
Dang it.
I don't feel like this gives us much to go on with the Zobars,
Can I have that back?
right?
He mentioned Richard again too, right?
Yeah, I mean, they said about Richard, it seems like he was just kind of sent to a new thing. Maybe there wasn't anything happening with this stuff.
You think it's like a video game, and like if you talk to them, it'll reactivate something new with Richard. You know what I mean?
Like, you go back, talk to Richard now.
yeah, and
you got new
now that
information.
it's not like that.
No, it's not like that.
We need to make a game with it version of this, Rick.
I mean, there are. There are a lot of Sherlock games.
Something you noticed, Calvin? Or
I'm trying to find what this lady's name is.
I mean, you're probably going to be looking for a lord. Oh, for all I know, it could be Lord Henry Higgins. And she's Hilda Higgins. I don't know. Damn. I mean, do we keep pursuing this Zobar thing, or do we go back towards, like, Clayton? I mean, at least we knew Clayton could shoot. That he should own a gun that would be of such caliber to be able to shoot.
Isn't that the second person who was sick that we've met so far? I don't know if
Yep.
there's any connection there about someone being sick
Unless they've gotten each other sick.
Yeah.
because of gay, or
Yeah, the gay.
No.
It happens.
that's
Just
what
like
Calvin
meeting frequently.
Like,
So, what are your theories so far as to who and why?
There's a cholera going around.
All right,
There's
so
a bunch. There's been a bunch of. There's been 36 deaths. It's been going around. Yeah.
let's reestablish motives and individuals, right?
And
Yeah.
evidence.
So we have
the wife,
yes,
because he was cheating, and she didn't say shit when we got there.
Beatrice
He wasn't hurting anybody.
Said-
I'm just kidding.
said nothing. He cheated. Do we have proof that he cheated?
Yeah,
Anecdotal proof.
he's dead.
That's what happens.
That's what happens when you,
You cheat, you die.
You die.
All right. What other suspects do we have?
Clayton
Fucking Partridge.
Clayton
Partridge, who is, I feel like they're throwing the evidence in our face.
All
It's
right.
not exactly consistent.
What do we have with Clayton Partridge that would be evidence
He's
of
a smoker. He's good with guns. He's
Okay.
got good aim.
smokes,
He's rich.
B&H, can shoot, right?
Yeah.
He's
Not just that he smokes. That
slash-
he's on an exclusive list.
Owns gun. Well,
He also
smoking
is-
B&H
Yeah, yeah.
is
he's also very close to what, the Lord Raglan? Is that what it was?
close
which one was it?
to Philip,
Yeah, his golfing buddy.
Yeah.
Yep.
right? Anything else that pushes towards him?
No. Well, I can't remember.
All right, who else we got? Raglan,
Yeah.
Lord Raglan. What do we have with him that could prove that he did it? He has a bunch of shares and stuff.
Yeah. He
That
has
was
he has
paid
a bunch of shares that
the-
was paid
the day after the death, right?
of the murder.
Raglan's the one who said he doesn't smoke, right?
No, Camp
that was
did.
Camp.
But I mean, Raglan isn't on the list of B&H cigarettes, so he shouldn't have been the one sitting there waiting to kill him.
He's not on the list.
No, he's not on the list of people that killed him. The people on the list for killing was, oh no, wait, yeah, he is. He
Yeah,
was
yeah.
on the list.
I have him circled in here.
Clayton, Raglan, Camp, Higgins, the Count von Schulenberg, Cardiff, Carly, Zobar, Noble, Mainhart, Welch.
Yeah,
and
Raglan's the one who
Stasi.
doesn't really seem to have a motivation.
Well, I mean, he has the shares paid day after death, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he decided to remove.
He moved Camp off 2 days after.
2 days after.
What does he gain from him being dead?
I mean, he
I mean, he got
would move up to be the president, right?
no.
No,
He's
this
the one
guy.
who wouldn't move up.
Yeah, he's
Philip moved up.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, this is
Philip
a guy who's
moved up.
second, and he liked being second. He knew about being. He was going to be second. He's fine with it.
Yeah, he said he was okay with that. I mean, there's whatever's happened with the shares.
And the other guy.
Did he actually earn money because he killed him? Is that why he has his money?
I don't know.
Is there a way that we can figure out what the shares
I don't know
were
how
for?
that works.
I mean, we
Through
know
the
that the
bank?
shares were from.
You can look in the front. There might be something in there about the stock exchange or about the bank.
Okay.
And
Well, the shares dropped.
The,
The
shares
shares
in
for
the company,
the company dropped.
But he had 5,000 shares. They were denominated in 5,000 shares for various businesses, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you write about his smoking?
He smokes B&H.
Smoking.
The other thing about that was he used a cigarette holder.
Yes.
True.
Which would crimp the cigarette in the way that it was
would be-
described at the crime.
As even
So the crime scene said that it was crimped.
Yeah.
Belly.
He's the only
fact-
one we've seen that has done that, right?
I see 12. Let me read it again.
starboard
No, read the crime scene.
to the
That's what I'm doing.
Well, the crime scene one is at 5 EC.
Doesn't I use the bathroom.
Yeah, that's the factory.
That's where he was. That's where we saw him.
Okay. Okay.
It's right here. Set us to the next page.
Next page.
You missed something. It said right.
Remains of a cigarette. On it are the letters B and H, and the tip is pinched evenly all around.
The tip is pinched evenly all around, meaning like the filter or the tip? Pinched. What's it
Well-
mean?
Well, he used a cigarette holder.
Yeah.
Right?
So what pinched means?
Yeah. Because they're generally tapered to hold the cigarette in with friction.
Yeah, if you're holding it in your mouth, it's going to be flat
Yeah.
because your lips, go
Okay,
down
so-
on it one side.
So let's say Raglan was there, sitting inside. Yeah, I know. I'll scoot up. So cigarette crimped all the way around, puts it. He's the only one that we have evidence of having something that does that.
Yeah.
Because we visited Clayton,
Yeah.
we had nothing there. Camp, we had nothing there. We visited Zobar, we had nothing there.
Uh-huh.
The only other one is the Schulenburg people.
Who all benefits from this guy dying?
Depends under what circumstances he died.
Yeah, I mean the VP moving up to president
Mm-hmm.
benefits him in some ways. But I mean, he was going to get that. That's part of his deal. He would get that always.
It would have
no matter
happened
how
when he
died.
retired.
It would have happened much later. Yeah.
So this puts it sooner
We also have this mysterious secret project.
with a folder missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a guy dies with a missing secret project folder that has some kind of international affair thing with it. Do we chase the international thing?
I mean, we've been going after that with the Zobars.
Yeah.
That seemed to be the closest ties we had to any kind of international thing, right? I mean, we haven't
Other
visited
than the
we haven't visited Schulenburg, but so far there hasn't really been any ties that we've seen with Schulenburg, right?
yeah. Other than, I mean, indirectly, I just suppose that the pink stationery with the perfume on it and stuff, since he met her or started conversing with this woman immediately after the World Arms Fair, that it would be someone related there. It's like, oh, there's a woman in the newspaper that was mentioned as being the wife of this important guy who is a dignitary for the German military or whatever. I mean, it's very thin.
Cigarette cramp, smokes B&H, got paid the day after the death through the shares. Is how I took it. The thing is, like, the murder weapon.
Yeah.
It was a gun, strong gun.
Can you read 25 SW again?
25 SW.
Which is Spaniards.
The proprietor of Spaniards Inn is a most cooperative fellow. For small consideration, while he consults his records, we wait at the bar sipping a glass of beer. Two gentlemen with the initials AM reserved private rooms on the evening of March 9th. He tells us when he returns Alexander Mishkin and Anthony Mariano. Can you tell us how to get in touch with them? I have never seen either of them before since. Could you describe them? Giant fellow, walked with a slight limp, spoke with an accent. So he might be one of the guys that's looking around the factory, trying to get some information out about the like Mr. Kehoe was talking about.
Do what now?
Mishkin might be one of the guys that's hanging around the factory.
Walked with a slight limp and spoke with an accent. What kind of accent?
Doesn't say, but
French accent? German accent?
Mishkin, he was.
It wouldn't
he
be
was-
a British accent.
He was mentioned in the newspaper as being.
Michigan?
Yeah,
Michigan was in the newspaper?
yeah.
I thought that was a different name.
I thought it was Mishkin.
No,
Maybe
it's
I'm wrong.
Meshkov or whatever. Remember?
Meshkov, yeah.
That's a different person.
Well,
Was he in the Arms Trade Fair thing?
yeah.
I don't
He was
see it.
accepting medals or something. It was for the Russian.
The bottom here.
What? Yeah. Alexei Mycroft.
Yeah.
What's it say about him?
The affair was marred by several demonstrators sporting the anti-arms placards.
Placards.
Alexei Mycroft, Russian military attaché, was struck in the head by a tomato.
See, Mishkin isn't in
He's
the
not
directory.
in the directory. But if he
Which-
doesn't live in England or London or whatever, he wouldn't be, right? Is Meshkov in there?
Yeah.
Where's he live?
Um,
Your book's right
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
he is at 34 Southwest.
Is that any?
There's 30, or no,
34
50.
Southwest is
Fuck,
right there.
did it
Yeah.
again.
Not like it's a embassy or anything.
I mean, it's close to the embassies. Russian embassy, Spanish embassy.
All right, are we going there?
I think Alexander Mishkin is Alexei. What's his name? Muskov or whatever.
Have you
So
met
you-
any 30-year-old Englishmen?
Yeah, the Raglan, right?
Lord.
Yeah, Raglan's like 30 exactly.
Rich, 30 years old, yeah.
And they carried identical briefcases.
Identical?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that may be March 9th or some days ago. Alexander Mishkin was a giant fellow, walked with a slight limp, spoke with an accent. He arrived at 8:30 and ordered supper. An English gentleman about 30, I would say, joined him later. Also, both Mishkin and the Englishman carried identical briefcases. Curiously enough, Anthony Mariano also ate alone and was joined by another man. His reservation was for 9 o'clock. Could you describe Mariano? Okay. I mean, the Alexander Mishkin being Alexei is just a thought, but we do know that there is a Mariano.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, where do we go? Which route do we take? Keen's Bar. Robbery. Empty wallet. No watch. Wallet. Briefcase is switched.
Briefcases are switched.
I don't know, I'm just trying to think of like different possibilities. I don't know how it would work if they've killed. It would make sense for them to have that. They had identical briefcases. If it's under the impression that the Englishman who showed up with Mycroft or Mishki or whatever his name
Mishkin.
was, we're assuming it was Courtney, right?
The Englishman is 30?
The one that showed up with Mishkin had identical briefcases with him.
No, I was gonna say it was.
We know
Raglan.
about the Raglan. He was the 30-year-old.
Yeah.
How old is the other one? Do we know?
The guy with the limp?
How old's Courtney?
Well, he was a little far away from retiring, but
Being his like 40s
Like
or
he was
40s,
probably
50s.
older.
So then Courtney was never here. Meet me tonight, Spaniards 10 a.m. So did he have that note because he was going to try to figure out what Raglan was doing? Was it Raglan that was there?
Courtney died March 9th, 7 p.m.-ish.
At 7 p.m.?
Yep.
Why do I not have that written down anywhere?
I don't know.
Curly Allen was found shot to death in an alley behind his office on the evening of March 9th at approximately 7 p.m.
That's when he was found. Okay.
Yeah.
I have
It was
it up
not too
here.
long ago.
So he would have been dead by then, right?
By 8 or 9.
Yeah, I got that. 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's when. See, the briefcase that was at the scene had stuff that.
Yeah. Go on.
Just trying to piece it all. Okay, so. Raglan would have had access to some of those files, and he could have planted a switch out briefcase at the scene, or had Mycroft or whoever killed him do it. He could have swapped out the brand new briefcase for an old briefcase that looked like it but had the gouge and the scratches on it. And instead of trying to get it open there at the scene and get the file, he could have just traded the entire briefcase. Planted files in it that looked like they belonged there. That way it wouldn't arouse suspicion. And then had all the time in the world to get into the real briefcase.
I mean,
later.
if the murder was made to look like a robbery, why leave a briefcase at all? If you were switching it, why not just take the briefcase?
True.
Throw people off.
Well, it'd have to be a plan,
I mean-
right?
So
Like,
like
the
the
only
ruby
reason-
ring, the gold wedding band, the keychain, keys, all that stuff is replaced, so fake.
No, that was all on his body. Like that was his personal effects in the envelope that we looked at, but they weren't
Okay.
necessarily in the
Small
briefcase.
notebook. Okay.
The briefcase.
Saying like if I rob an old lady, I'm gonna take her purse. You know, so I'd probably take a guy's briefcase too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's because you know that her money and valuables are in there.
Yeah, but he's probably
right?
got some stuff in there too. I mean, if I'm gonna
Well,
But
he
shoot
had a
someone,
wallet.
But they wouldn't
if I'm gonna
necessarily.
shoot somebody, I'm probably gonna take everything.
But they wouldn't
I can.
necessarily be able to sell it on the street. Like,
Yeah. Okay, so why wouldn't you take it?
I don't know. I don't know why I wouldn't.
To leave evidence?
I'm just saying, like, we're going on with
Because
the
you got
idea
what you
that
need with the-
this wasn't a robbery. Even though that's what it's made to look like. So if I were the killer and I was like, well, I'm gonna make this look like a robbery, why do I bother making a whole nother fake briefcase to replace that one? Why not just take everything?
to make it look like nothing was taken.
But the
To make
folder
it
was
look
empty.
like it was
No,
a
you already-
robbery.
You
and
already
not-
took stuff. What if it's to point that this either it's for the information in the briefcase, or it's to point people that it was for the information that was in the briefcase. Right? I mean, if you want the information in the briefcase, just take the briefcase, open it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they would know they had it. If you put a plant in there, if you replaced it, then they wouldn't know that it's missing. That was my point.
Then why leave an empty one?
Because because Raglan didn't have access to those files. So he just left an empty folder in there that said,
Did he not have any access to the files? I mean, he was the one who moved the guy
I'm
who was
just-
working on it off of it, right?
I was just supposing, like,
I mean, he should have had access to those files. Raglan shows up with the briefcase to meet with a guy who we don't have in the phone book. I don't think it's the Mariano guy, right?
I don't think so. I think he's just
I mean,
happens
the only
to-
thing from him that we could get would be maybe information if he happened to see the other two.
Yeah.
So how do we get information about this Michigan guy?
I guess we
I mean, if we feel like we're stuck or something, we can
talk
try
to
like a...
Scotland Yard or an informant, or we just try to go to Alexei Mycroft's house.
I think that's just a stretch. I mean, maybe you're right. But I feel like
I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying two very similar names. One guy is like kind of Russian. One
Either
guy
way,
is
if we ask for
is
a
a
hint,
Russian
we'll go to that
official.
guy, it's I mean, it still equals one move.
If we what?
If we go get a hint from Scotland Yard or an informant, we might as well, because they'll probably point us in a better direction, right?
Maybe. Yeah.
You said that's like kind of a hint system?
There's no guarantee. I mean, we went to the medical examiner and got nothing.
Yeah.
Next to nothing.
Sometimes they'll know,
Like-
sometimes they won't. You have like informants. There's Mycroft Holmes, who
Works
if
for the
it's
government?
if it's a government weapon, maybe he might know something.
It is a government weapon.
There's also just informants that are just kind of have random information.
Like Fred Porlock.
Hmm
Let's ask Mycroft.
We could try Mycroft. He's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, he's smart. He's as smart or smarter than Holmes. He's just
Okay.
fat, so that's smart then.
Mycroft should be in the front of the book, right?
Don't worry about his cholesterol.
Yeah, he's in the front of the book.
Oh, okay. I knew he was in there too.
You're off camera when you said that like that. Fatty. Your fat sticking out. Just think all the fat people that have succeeded in life more than you.
8
Yeah, there's a
southwest.
What the hell are you talking
I'm
about?
just saying.
Okay. Read it.
Is it a club?
Yeah, it's the Diogenes Club.
Okay.
No talking?
No talking.
We are joined by Mycroft Holmes in the Strangers Room of Diogenes Club. How can I be of help to you, Master Wiggins? Mr. Holmes, we're working on a case with your brother. Could you help us with any information on the Grant Arms Company? Of the company, I know very little, Mycroft settling his great bulk into an armchair. I do know that they are working on a secret project for the Admiralty. Who else might have known? The fact of the project is certainly common knowledge among the arms community. The details are known only by a few. Who would be most interested in attaining these details? Del Guerrera, Zobar, and Mycroft, certainly. The military attaches of Spain, France, and Russia, respectively. Then, of course, Count von Schulenburg. It has been long suspected that he is more than simply the German attaché. A spy? Let me put it this way. If you draw your own conclusions, his bride is not, in fact, his new bride. Her name was Freda Rudel 4 months ago, and her name was still... 4 months ago, and her name was still Freda Rudel. Okay.
Wait, read that again?
What?
Let me put it this way. If you draw your own conclusions, his bride is not, in fact, his new bride. Her name was Freda Rudel 4 months ago, and her name is still Freda Rudel.
So it's...
So her name
So
never
they're not
changed
married.
whenever they got married.
I think she's a, what's it called, a Red Sparrow? Is that what they were called?
Like a
The
hookah.
thing that Jennifer Lawrence is?
Yeah. Russian,
Like these deadly assassin women. Right?
well, maybe not deadly assassin, but like masters of seduction and,
Yeah.
and manipulation. What are you thinking?
I mean, the Mycroft is mentioned in there.
Yeah. But
You
it's
gotta-
also more, at least he's pointing more towards like
The Count.
the Count being not who he says he is, and her definitely not being who they say she was.
Yeah. I never took her for...
Mycroft having dealings with who we assume to be Raglan.
I just thought of your tattoo.
Huh?
Nothing. I just thought of the tattoo I'd give you.
Richard Dawkins on my back or something.
No.
This gentleman about 30. Michigan and the Englishman carried identical briefcases. Damn. What are we missing?
Give you this.
I mean, do we still know if it was someone on that list who smoked cigarettes?
I mean, only those 12 people have bought that cigarette.
Okay.
Now, Camp says he doesn't smoke them. He bought them for Zobar.
Okay.
Raglan does smoke them, and he uses a crimper that bends it in a perfect, crimp.
And that's what it was, right?
The one that was found at the scene was crimped like
So
that.
Raglan seems okay. He's a 30-year-old
Seems
rich guy.
suspicious.
But what's his
Also just-
reasoning?
We're also just
But
assuming
Raglan's a
that
guy who
the
doesn't have a
cigarette comes from
motivation.
the killer. We're also just assuming that the cigarette came from the killer.
Yeah, that's what I was asking
There's
earlier.
nothing
Like, are
showing
we
that. I mean,
sure?
someone could have just been in that shed smoking, and then later someone, we don't even know if the killer was in that shed. I don't know shit.
You give up? Leave? He's dead!
I ain't no Sherlock Holmes.
You're making us doubt ourselves, Eric.
I'm just saying we might be chasing, someone be like, well, it doesn't make sense with this, but that might not even be part of the case.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, is there any other thing around that alley that we can? I mean, it's not a video game. I was gonna say, can we look around the alley for something else?
No.
No, we got everything.
All we have is
I don't see the triangle button anywhere. Just moving around,
yeah.
looking for something interesting.
All right, so I would have to assume it's in that shed then, because that's the only information it gave us, right?
Wish it were a video game, then we could try to find the bullet.
That's what I was gonna say, like bullet casing or something.
Well, they didn't have semi-automatic guns back then, so you probably wouldn't find a casing. But the bullet that went through the guy should be in the alley somewhere.
Kyle Van, yeah, the German guy who was married to that chick who seems sketchy. He's on that list. And he's a German guy. Can we go to the German embassy?
Count von Schulenberg?
Yeah.
That was the name that Mycroft gave, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And he's the one that made it sound like his girl was more sketchy than him.
Yeah.
Well,
With the
What was her name?
Freda Rudel.
yep. She's an archetype of the fair-haired Rhine maiden. Which, if it's I'm saying, when I'm thinking of stories, the clues give me she's the archetype of a pretty girl.
Yeah.
Then it might be what
see
Calvin.
the book for a second?
Then it might be what Calvin said. She's like a red sparrow, right? Because why would it emphasize that to me,
She married a
the
count.
player?
She didn't change her name. She married a count, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't change her name. She
Mhm.
didn't marry for
Or
a
she,
title.
yeah, she didn't.
She didn't marry for a title.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she would go countess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Even though that's what the newspaper is calling her, so they're both operating under the thing, under the ruse that they're married,
yeah, so they're both spies,
or at least he's keeping
and she's
her
spying
there.
on our murdered guy. She think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's under the impression.
Or at least we assume that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, when you talked to Captain Egon, Alan had sent him a wire that morning.
Yeah. I can't remember what that said.
Meet tonight, 8:30. Your office. Call out the guard. Pounce at 10. So he had suspected something enough that he was ready to call the police.
Call the police.
Call out the guard. Pounce at 10.
I don't know what that means. Call out the guard?
Yeah. Like the Royal Guard. And then spring the trap at 10.
Mm-hmm.
So he received that the day that he was killed?
Yeah.
Meet where?
10 SW.
Sent me a wire this morning, quite vague. Close-mouthed fellow. When all is said and done, he was worried about security for Project 10. He was worried about security. Lieutenant returns with the file and is dismissed. Meet tonight, 8:30, your office. Your office. So the captain's office. Where's the captain's office?
It's at the Admiralty.
Which is way down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was already dead by that point.
Yeah, by 8:30. He died at 7. So he's leaving at 7 to head there?
I guess so.
Pounce at 10. 10 o'clock meeting. There's a note that said 10 in a.m. So the note he had wasn't his. Right? Alright, so we find Courtney Allen, right?
The note
We
was...
find Courtney Allen. He has a note that says, meet me tonight at Spaniards 10 a.m. Possibly standing for Alexei Mycroft.
Mycroft.
But they met early.
They met at like 8:30, right?
He arrived at 8:30, ordered supper, and English gentleman about 30, I would say, joined him later.
Yeah. So
The other
maybe
guy
9
had
o'clock.
a meeting at 9 o'clock. So someone killed him before he could get to the captain.
Yeah.
Egon. Alright, so Raglan has a briefcase, goes and takes the information, goes and sells it to someone, and then pays off his shares in the money he gets from selling the secrets.
And that's what spurns on.
That's why he has all those shareholding things.
That's how he has the shares, and that's why Alan was going to spring the trap, because he says, "Hey, he's selling secrets."
So what I missed? Sorry. Last thing I said before I left was the guy and a girl, the German guy and his wife, fake wife. They're obviously
Alright, well, we're talking about Raglan.
okay. Raglan, 30-year-old rich
Raglan's
guy.
30-year-old.
He's on the list.
Working on the project as well. Smokes his cigarettes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know that Courtney died at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Courtney sent, the day of his death, a wire to Captain Egon, or whatever, that to meet tonight at 8:30 at Egon's office, call out the guard, pounce at 10.
Call it the guard. What?
Call out the guard, pounce at 10. Which
Pounce
they're
at-
saying call out the guard as in the royal guard, like the police, and it's gonna happen at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So, also, the captain said, close-mouth fellow when it's all said and done, but he was worried about security for Project 10. I know, but wouldn't say much about it. His responsibility, he'd take care of it. Of course, I put some of my men on it anyway. So, even though Raglan or Camp or whatever said they both knew the real reason he was going to the French embassy,
He still knew
he
there
still
a
was
risk.
worried about security.
Mm-hmm.
So the risk and security coming from the guy who just got
So Raglan
thousands of shares.
Raglan wants to sell secrets for Project 10 to earn money, in which he buys shares the day after the death. The next day, 2 days after the death, he moves Camp off the project, as in he was the security risk that he was looking into when he really wasn't.
Right.
Even though they both knew of what the reasons were. And even he says here about, don't they say about Camp? So you believe that Mr. Allen's wire implied he had information implicating Camp? I did, still do, but Lord Raglan, head of the project, assured me that Allen's security fears were unfounded. But what if he said, like, don't worry, the security's there are fine? Even Courtney knew it was fine, because actually it was Raglan who was the security risk. But he moves Camp to imply that was
Yeah.
the security issue that he was looking into.
Okay.
I mean, it would give motivation of money.
Mm-hmm.
He smoked.
newspaper?
He crimped it. Like Raglan has the crimp. He waits in the alley when he should have been working late. Now, didn't we say it wasn't him because he was working late?
He claimed to be working late at
At the 12
Yeah.
dweller place.
Mhm.
But didn't we go there? They said that he did come in late? Or they say he came in late and then left?
No, he.
Southeast 12?
Yeah. Said. He was in late, stayed for a couple hours, and left for the day.
So he came in to work late?
Right.
He didn't get there in the morning like he normally would.
Yeah, and then
Stayed
left
for a while
early.
and then left early. So he wasn't there late.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes in, leaves early.
He got there late.
Yeah. He gets there late, leaves early, goes and waits in a shed, smoking, for him to come out late.
And
Kills
shoots him.
him, takes the information from his briefcase, and then heads down to Spaniards to have his meeting with Michigan.
So is he selling the information?
I mean, if Michigan is a fake name and it's somebody who's either with the Spanish, I mean, he's got to be Spanish, Russian, German, or French, right? Those are all the embassies that we've had mentioned.
Yeah, it's on the next page. Yeah.
And even Mycroft has said about like those are the people with the arms. Like they all knew this project was happening, but it was the details of the project of how it's being made they didn't know. So you take these.
well, the thing that seems shady are the Germans.
They might be unrelated though.
Yeah, it could just be.
Yeah.
I mean, the French could have been a red herring of sending us off another way.
The French. Oh,
the
yeah.
French, the
Yeah.
camp,
Because of
the camp thing. If it was okay,
Mhm.
it was it wasn't a big deal. But we still have the Germans, the Spanish, and
The
the
Russians.
Russians.
Okay.
Which Alexei sounds Russian, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well,
Yeah, I feel like
in,
it sounds
in
Russian.
the newspaper, he's the Russian military attaché.
Not Alexei.
Alexei is. Yeah.
What's the guy's name?
Alexander Mishkin is this guy.
Alexander.
Alexei Mycroft is the Russian attaché, which I was thinking he was using an alias.
So where do we?
Where do we go from here?
He was using an accent. We've already been to the French embassy. We haven't been to the Spanish embassy, or the German,
Or the
or
Russian.
the Russian. Like one of those embassies should probably be our next bet. If the idea that Raglan killed off his boss to get the information to sell it to make money, which he then paid the next day into shares, so that you don't have money, then you have shares, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be. There's something about those shares that were done the day after.
So is Mishkin just like...
I don't. We need to figure out who Michigan is.
Yeah.
We need to know who AM is. There's no Michigan in the phone book. There's a Mycroft.
The Raglan, the killer. It sounds like it works.
I mean, it could be motivation. The only thing we don't have is a weapon.
Which
You might
He's-
not need the weapon.
he's great friends with... what's his name? The shooter.
No, that's Philip. That's the one who actually got moved up. Raglan.
Was that not Raglan?
Raglan's
Okay.
not friends with him. He's friends with Camp, who is the engineer.
Yeah. I mean, they run a weapons manufacturing company. He could get his hands on one.
I would say that we should check out the embassies, maybe.
Okay, which one first?
What do you guys think?
Yeah, we could try the embassy.
Which one?
Which one?
The
German.
German
No.
one?
I don't know what you want. I guess it doesn't matter.
We've done the
They're all
French.
suspicious.
There's Spanish, there's Russian, and there's German. There's been the mention of the German count with the spy wife and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
There's not much with the Spanish ones, although they met at Spaniards.
The one with the spy wife, at the end of the spy wife
No,
one,
okay.
says the affair was marred by several demonstrations sporting anti-armed placards. Alexei Mycroft, the Russian military attache, was attacked in the head by a tomato. But we were looking for who's the AM. It's the one with the German, right? With the spy wife.
The Mycroft guy. I mean, we know that the two names for AM are Alexander Mishkin or
Alexei Meshkov.
no,
Emil Zobar.
Anthony Mariano.
Oh.
Yeah.
Were the
yeah,
two
yeah,
AMs that they
like-
met there. But one's not in the phone book at all.
Yeah.
The directory. So go to the German one then. That's related to the German one too, right?
Yeah, it's
So
related
that-
to the two.
The Meshkov guy has relations to that.
Well-
what was
Meshkov is Russian.
Yeah.
Meshkov is Russian
Yeah.
himself.
Yes.
Yeah. He's
the
the
German
Russian
is
attaché.
Schoenberg and his fake wife,
Right.
Yeah.
who also was shooting that day as well.
the day before he met Egon?
They were
Who was shooting? Who?
Schoenberg.
The Count or the Countess?
The Count.
Okay. Well,
Was there anyone else shooting that day?
Canton
Any other names?
Morin.
Did we ever learn anything about the previous day's meeting, Bishop F at 8:30 p.m.?
Bishop's Finger.
Bishop Fingers Inn.
Colonel Sebastian Morin.
And that was for Billy's mom.
Captain Kent Fifth,
Birthday.
Northumberland. Which we haven't. There's nothing about that.
Okay.
But yeah, Schoenberg was there shooting with Partridge.
All right. So do we go German or Russian? I think those are the two more prominent ones that we've been talking about. We haven't had anything about Spanish except for the fact that Mycroft mentioned the Spanish guy who was in the arms one, and they went to Spaniards. So, where do you guys want to go? And we need to pick one of the embassies.
Just German. I mean, I
Go
don't
to
know.
go to the Count and see what we can learn there.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
All right, let's try going to the German embassy.
I'm unsure of the way.
Maybe we'll see what we can learn about the Count. The person had an accent. It had to be an accent of something, because it's not gonna be a British accent because they're all in London.
Cockney.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not like you talk like this.
Bloody likely.
Exactly.
At the German embassy, we're told that Count von Schulenburg is out, but his aide, Colonel Frederick von Kraushofer, will see us. The colonel is an impressive figure, tall and slim. He gives us an imperious, one-eyed stare from across a monocle. He's at a loss over our only question, not from any lack of knowledge on his part, but at our temerity at asking it. After a long pause, he finally relents. He retreats to the desk and flips through the pages of the record book. The Count left the embassy at 4:55 p.m. on March 9th. Beating the colonel to the punch, as it were, we summarily dismiss ourselves. So we definitely left the embassy in time to kill him.
Where was that?
German embassy.
No, I mean the
9
letter.
Southwest.
Yeah.
That's all we know is that he.
So that doesn't really give us much at all there.
He just knows that he could have been there or he could not have been there. I mean, he doesn't have a.
Do you want to try the Russian?
So he's just not there. Where the fuck is he?
Check the Russian embassy too.
54.
Okay.
At the Russian embassy, we are escorted into the office of Alexei Meshkov, military attaché. His massiveness is not obscured by his desk. He is friendly, chatty almost. My government is very, very impressed with the new naval gun developed by the Grants. You just see you shake your head. I'll stop.
No, do it. Yeah.
That I cannot deny. We have done business with Mr. Allen's company. That I cannot deny. We have done business with Mr. Allen's company in the past, and have always been satisfied. The Tsar, may God preserve him, has very large borders to defend, as well as a large fleet to arm. But we are patient people. I hope that the Balkans... I point to the Balkans as an illustration of that fact. We will wait until the British government tends to allow Grant Arms to sell us the new gun. As Meshkov finishes speaking, there is an unexpected clatter behind the desk. Ah, thank you, young man, he says to Wiggins, who retrieves his cane, which had slipped down from the edge of the desk to on its own volition. Its own volition? Is there somebody hiding under the desk?
It was on its own volition.
Jinx!
Own volition.
Meshkov pats his thigh and explains. An affair of honor some years ago. Although not too many years ago, he laughs. As my adversary fell forward, shot dead through the heart. His pistol went off, accidentally. Much as the cane just slipped off the desk. Unfortunately, the ball found my leg. Sir, would you mind telling us where you were on the evening of March 9th?
Is that some kind of symbolism that we're supposed to, it's...
Huh?
Is that the kind of game this is?
What do you mean?
Like, he's telling a story.
Yeah,
Like,
he's telling why he has a cane.
Yeah.
Okay. But much like the cane, is there something else?
No, I think he's saying much like how that cane just fell.
That guy shot
That
me.
guy
Is that going to be a theme?
fell
That's
into
what I'm
shooting.
saying.
No.
No, I don't
I
think
think you're reading into the wrong stuff.
I think
too
we're
much.
reading into that. There's a giant man with a limp, which I believe the guy at
Well,
Spaniards was a giant man with a limp.
Yeah,
With an accent.
with an accent. Mycroft tilts back his head and laughs heartily. Of course not, my friends. I attend a performance at Covent Garden Theatre and was there all evening. Since we have nothing more to ask, we thank him and take our leave.
So now we go to the theater, right?
You could go to the theater.
Yeah, you see the contradictions. That's the thing. I'm sure there's got to be someone...
Well, we know he was at Spaniards.
Why do we know that?
Someone fitting his description.
A 30-year-old
fitting,
English
like, his
guy. And
exact
they both had
description.
identical briefcases.
Briefcases.
Yeah.
Why do you have identical briefcases?
There was a sale.
Well, I was gonna say
Giant.
so that when you walk in, you walk out, it looks like you're holding the same briefcase as you walk in, but you could have switched them.
Giant.
Maybe
walked
it's
with a
a
limp,
trade of
spoke
information.
with an accent.
Maybe what? They could have
Like we think that it might be the second vice president, Lord Raglan, the 30-year-old English guy, right? And him and another guy had identical briefcases.
Yeah.
Why have identical briefcases?
because they were on sale.
There's only one
Well, I
briefcase
was gonna
manufacturer in a 20 miles.
Well, I was gonna
radius.
say because when you walk in, you walk out. If you switch the briefcases, no one's gonna know because
Yeah.
it's the same damn thing.
Yeah.
That's what I
So
was
maybe
saying.
they trade information, or
It's like Die
One
Hard
was
2.
full with money,
one's
and
full
one
of
was
money and
full
one's
with secrets.
and with the plan. So
Yeah.
does Raglan kill to get what's missing out of this briefcase,
Yeah,
and then sells it and he makes money?
that's what I said.
So let's
I
go
had
after
said
Raglan.
that too.
I think Raglan's the one we should go after.
I would
I agree, Eric.
I would
Yeah.
suggest maybe one or two more locations and then trying your hand at the quiz.
Like I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a quiz. I was gonna say I don't know how we solve this necessarily. Like
There's a quiz.
I think there's
Once you
something.
think you have enough information, then you get
You
to
can
see what the
start
questions
answering
are. There are 4 questions.
Okay. Are they multiple choice?
No. Usually it's like who did it, why, and then there might be 2 other questions specifically on the case.
Because then we could just go through and
So
if
we-
one person's name is in all 4 questions, we just answer with that.
Raglan did it. He
Yes.
sold secrets to
Yes.
the Russian embassy,
Yes.
which was the military cache. Is that what it's
Attache.
called? Attache.
It's also why he doesn't fucking care about moving forward because he's making money.
He's
selling
making money.
secrets,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he's got certificates in 5,000 shared denominations for several different companies, among them Rafferty Paper Mills and Stevenson Ironworks.
Does it say anything about where Raglan was the night of?
Well,
He claimed he was working late, right?
He claimed,
claimed.
but
Is there any way of
But
us
then-
finding
Well,
out
we know
when
he
was
he
working?
got there late and left early.
the employees said that he got there late and left early.
So that's
So
a
he-
contradiction.
He
So
also
lied.
says he also said that he'll see Lord Raglan some other time, and perhaps it's best I don't even mention that he come by. Lord Raglan was in a bit later, stayed for a couple hours, and then left for the day. Odd it was.
So did he leave early?
In the
He
embassy a
didn't-
bit later.
No,
didn't stay
this
late.
is the
Oh, okay.
this is number 12. This
Okay.
is the factory.
Okay. I thought you were still reading the embassy guy.
No.
So the workers say that he was not somewhere he said he was.
Like he should have been there at 9 a.m. He came in at noon and
Left
left,
early.
at 3 instead of leaving at like 5.
and
doesn't-
said that you might as well say I was never in at all.
56.
Like he was barely there, which gives him plenty of time to be figuring out.
Killing fools.
Yeah. Popping caps.
I mean, we have missing plans. We know plans like that are going to be valuable to somebody. We have someone meeting at the or 2 people meeting at the
Spaniard.
the Spaniard with identical briefcases
A giant guy with an accent and a limp,
Yeah.
and a 30-year-old British man.
and a guy that also doesn't seem to care at all that he got skipped over or whatever for.
Yeah, no.
for
I think
smokes
we've
B&H
got it right.
cigarettes.
It's just a matter of like what else do we need to know to be able to beat the quiz.
Yeah.
So he smokes a cigarette. He crimps it.
Yeah.
Which made that's why he crimped. He had been waiting there in that shed for him. He
We don't
comes
have
out.
a murder weapon.
He comes out, shoots him. It makes sense that he's close by to him too, like 2 feet. You can just go, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yeah.
And
It makes sense why he would be around there, right? He would know his
day-to-day
schedule, and that's where he walks out of. What about like the pocket watch or whatever? What else was there?
Where
about the
is
murder?
the pocket watch? And there was also the wallet pieces are stolen. The wallet stuff could have been a cover-up. It makes it look like a robbery.
Yeah.
But he didn't take enough to make it look like a robbery. And then he left a lot of secrets in there, but he took the specific folder. But he could have just taken the whole folder. He left that folder in there empty. So where's the watch and the key? Have we been to Raglan's home?
I mean, he rips off the pocket watch, opens it up, takes the stuff, puts it back, takes the pocket watch with him. That's why it's not there. Right?
Yeah,
That's
where
why I asked
is
you,
it?
where's
though?
Raglan's home?
Where is the pocket watch?
We've gone to Raglan's house, haven't we?
We haven't, I don't believe. We've gone
No,
to
you
his
have.
place of
We
business,
have.
right?
Yeah.
56 SW
Can
Yeah,
we
we
read that
have.
again just real quick?
was his home.
Lord Raglan's man, Bunting, admits us to the residence and shows us to the study to wait. We are almost as impressed by Lord Raglan's establishment as we are with Lord Raglan himself when he arrives. At 30, he is a picture of English gentleman, impeccably groomed, with a grace and style that at once attractive and forbidding. Introductions completed, he separates himself, walking to the other side of the desk, seat himself, he asks us to begin. Before we can, however, he notices an envelope at the desk and immediately calls for Bunting. Drummond's has slipped up again, which I was going to check out what that is. Drummond's Bank.
See that this is posted immediately. Excuse
So-
me, gentlemen. Debit where a credit should be, or some such.
Did he-
Please begin.
Does he just get a bunch of money and
I
the bank
think
didn't
that's-
post it?
I think that's a detail that we missed earlier.
Could we go to the bank?
We should go to the bank and find out if he had come into a large chunk of
On
money.
the night of Mr. Allen's murder, he had an appointment with Captain Egon. Yes, the purchasing officer for naval ordnance at the Admiralty. We were working on a secret project for the Admiralty, and Courtney was concerned about one of the engineers, Richard Camp, being a security risk. We discussed it that morning. I gave no credence to the idea. Lord Raglan pauses to reach into a small silver box. From it, he draws a cigarette with the B&H logo on it, printed in gold leaf. He inserts it into an ebony cigarette holder, lights it, and leans back without our prompting. He continues, No, Camp is a fine fellow, but as a concession to Egon, I removed him from the project and assigned him elsewhere. Tragic, Courtney's death. To think that I had intended to stop by the office, was forced to work late at the plant. If I had perhaps,
Which is a lie.
thief would have thought twice about tackling two of us. Were you disappointed in not being the president? Not a bit. I am quite happy in my work in the technical areas. Administrative matters do not interest me. Besides, one of Marlowe's conditions of employment was that he succeed Courtney when Courtney retired. Of course, that would have been for many years.
So yeah, he's definitely lying about staying late.
We could go to the Drummond Bank place.
Let's
maybe.
go to the Drummond
Let's
Bank
go
thing.
to
See if we can
Drummond's
get
Bank.
information about.
26 West Central. 26.
Okay.
Give me a coin. 26.
Wiggins, with a dazzling glibness,
Yeah.
is able to coax manager of the Drummonds to give us a peek at Lord Raglan's banking record. It clearly paints a sad financial picture previous to March 10th. Since that date, Lord Raglan has deposited a total of £30,000 in 6 5-pound installments.
£5,000 installments.
So
Yes,
starting right after
The day
Yeah.
after the death, he started
It's
Causing
definitely
all this money.
It's definitely
5,000 5,000 is also 5,000 shares or whatever, but I don't know if that necessarily equals out. But
I think he just didn't want to do it all at once.
I think you guys are ready for the quiz.
Yeah, let's do the
I
quiz.
think we are too.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Number 1. Who killed Courtney Allen?
okay, so we'll
Second
say-
vice
we'll
president,
say Raglan.
Lord Raglan.
Lord Raglan.
Or
Raglan.
yeah, senior vice president, Lord Raglan.
I want to say it like Russell Crowe did in Gladiator.
Was it Lord Henry Raglan? Is that what it was?
That's all I want to say.
Husband to a
Yeah,
great
Henry
wife.
Raglan.
The correct answer
Father to a
is
mother's son.
Lord Raglan.
Okay.
Okay.
That's 25 points.
All right.
Sweet.
Number 2. Why was he murdered?
He wanted to steal
To sell
the plans
secrets.
to sell them to the somebody.
Or he got caught.
Raglan was stealing information, selling it to the Russian embassy, and earning money.
The correct answer. He had discovered that Lord Raglan was about to sell SP-10A to a foreign power.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
25 points.
Sweet.
Okay. So I see
So it wasn't like
there's
to
a
steal
scoring.
it from him. Is that he knew about it,
He was murdered because he knew about it.
and that's
Yeah.
why he took it out.
Because
of
he
it.
had access to it, right? He should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And we'll read out Holmes's explanation
Yeah,
of
I'm
the case
excited
as well.
to hear that.
Sweet.
Number
Yeah.
3. This that's the answer. The question is, what was the significance of the meeting at Spaniards Inn?
It was the exchange of secrets
Yeah.
and money.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why they had
For
two
all
identical
down.
briefcases.
Identical briefcases.
Number 3, the sale of the plans to Alexei Mycroft took place there. 25 points.
Okay.
Number 4, what was the reason for Richard's Camp's visit to the French embassy?
Richard Camp's visit to that was
He's the engineer that was let go.
He is currently fiancés with the French embassy ambassador's daughter.
With Notre Dame in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The correct answer, he was visiting his fiancée, Annette Zobar.
Yes.
25 points. Now, these are bonus questions that can help out.
Ooh. If we get them wrong, does it subtract from our score?
No, it doesn't.
Sweet, let's
It's
answer
just
'em.
Pure bonus. Now, this one you're never going to get. What is the significance of Courtney Allen's birthday?
We don't even know his birthday.
You mentioned it. We went through
They
that.
mentioned it, but
Did
it was
they?
the day before he died.
You're never going to get it.
I don't know.
Billy, the secretary. What's the significance of the birthday? I don't know.
January 6th is also Sherlock Holmes' birthday.
Oh,
That's what I was gonna say.
The mom.
Now you could have gotten this one. Number 2, who was Courtney Allen's paramour at the time of his death? Who was he having an affair
I
with?
think it was the
Countess
spy.
von Schulenburg.
Yeah, the spy.
That is correct.
Yeah.
10 points. And finally, the last bonus question. Why was the tip of the cigarette found at the scene pinched all the way around evenly?
Because
It was put in a cigarette holder.
Yeah, Raglan's.
Correct.
Ebony cigarette.
10 points.
Cigarette holder.
So that
we figured
gives
out
you,
shit a long time ago and it started going up and like, what about the embassy?
Yep. So that gives you 120 points.
Well, the Russian embassy kind of gave us the rest of this.
Out of
which
possible
we-
130?
Out of possible 100, because the others
we
are
got
bonus
bonus
questions.
Yes.
Okay, but that's what I
So
meant,
we
like,
solved it in a lot of steps.
Yes.
How many steps did
Yeah,
Sherlock solve?
because we
it?
went to
You
the, 'cause we went
solved
to the
it
wife's house.
in 17 steps.
Okay.
That's not too bad. That's a lot better than I thought it was.
Sherlock Holmes solved it in
10.
4.
4.
So we
Okay.
take-
I want to hear what.
So
how
we take
many-
17 minus 4, which is 13. We times that by 5,
Shit.
so that is 65. We take your score and minus it by 65.
Dang it.
We got both points.
Get like
So you have 55. In order to beat Holmes, you have to have 100.
Well, we didn't.
what?
Yes.
That's
Well, I'm okay with fucking losing to
But,
Sherlock Holmes.
but
alright?
I mean, you got it right.
I don't measure how
I just didn't wanna get it
compare-
wrong.
I don't measure how
Yeah.
I compare to other people like Sherlock Holmes. I measure how I compare to myself yesterday, which is
Okay,
slightly
here we
better
go.
looking.
We are gathered around once again at 221B Baker Street, comparing notes and discussing the case, trying to unravel its many threads when Holmes finally speaks. From the outset, it was obvious that the theft of Mr. Allen's wallet was but a decoy for the perpetrator's real intent. In the first place, it's unlikely that a common criminal would have overlooked 2 valuable rings, and in the second, a simple robbery would not explain the empty folder marked SP number 10A. But the briefcase was found locked, protests Watson. As far as we know, Allen locked it, and it remained so until you yourself sprang it open. I might add that I was quite shocked at your adeptness at such larceny. To study the criminal is to acquire knowledge of criminal methods. In any case, the murderer must have opened it, as evidenced by the spread eagle position of the body and the placement of the briefcase with regards to it. As Allen's was shot, his arms were described in an arced out away from his body. The briefcase, then, appears to have been flung some distance, as indicated by the gouge in the leather, caused by it scraping along the jagged cobbles.
So that's what the
That
gouge
makes
is for.
sense.
Okay.
Yet it was found beside the body, and more significantly, waist high, exactly the right position for the murderer to have retrieved it and brought it to the key on Allen's watch fob.
Yep.
when he ran away, he ripped the watch fob away from the vest.
Knowing that the contents of the folder were central to the murder and that code stood for Special Project Number 10, a new naval gun for the Admiralty, it was a simple matter to call 2 suspects from the customer list of Benson and Hedges Imperial brand smokers. The cigarette found at the scene was, of course, a Benson and Hedges cigarette.
Yeah.
You must mean Count von Schulenburg and Emile Zobar, the military attaches from Germany and France, ventures Wiggins. No, not at all. Remember, all technical data was kept at the Deverell Street plant. Folder SP10, like the others in Allen's briefcase, contained only administrative data that would have been of little use to a foreign power. It could, however, contain something that could be damaging to a company employee. Therefore, the 2 significant names on the B&H list were those of Lord Raglan and Richard Camp. Captain Egon, quite unintentionally, went a long way clearing Camp. A visit to the plant completed the job. He visits to the French embassy were certainly suspicious, asserts Watson. The photograph on his desk explained them perfectly. The church in the background was the unfinished towers of Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Mr. Camp's...
I wish we would have thought that.
Mr. Camp's lady love
I fucked up.
is French and lives at the French embassy. Further, I suspect that the lady had some familiar relationship to Emile Zobar. The Benson Hedges Imperial purchased by Mr. Camp, a cigar smoker, were intended as a gift for Monsieur Zobar. By what process of elimination, then? By process of elimination, then, Lord Raglan is our man. But why? What was the damaging information in the folder, asked Watson. From the cryptic wires sent to Egon, and the note containing... From the cryptic wires sent to Egon, and the note concerning Spaniards intercepted by Allen, which by way explains why a note signed AM was in Allen's handwriting, it is clear that Raglan was selling Special Project Number 10 to a foreign power. What evidence Allen had in the folder, whatever evidence Allen had was in that folder and about to be taken to Captain Egon. I believe Mr. Allen went to the plant that morning to confront Lord Raglan with the evidence. When he intercepted the note, he saw a chance to catch Raglan and AM Alexei Mycroft
They were going to get him.
at the Russian embassy red-handed. He set up a meeting with Egon ready to pounce. Raglan, for his part, was either told of Allen's surprise visit and the intercepted note, or else he detected something amiss within the note itself. He probably waited during the day for the axe to fall, and when it didn't, he realized that Allen was playing a waiting game. He took up station in the alley, knowing that Allen would come that way, and shot him. The end.
I like to see the path he took.
I can tell you.
The things he would have had to have gone visit the body, right? Because then he gets information about the B&H cigarette, about the gouge, about that. Then he would have probably went to the B&H cigarette place to know who bought it, because then you have it narrowed down that way. He had to have also stopped at Captain Egon to get the information of the wiretap, and then he would have had to have stopped at the
Wiretap?
the wire thing. 12 Devler, the plant, because then he got the picture of Camp, and he got the information that he wasn't there all day, and
You have to be so certain.
and the stocks. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
So he went to the Grant Arms Company,
Okay,
5EC,
where the body was,
Benson and Hedges, 16 Northwest,
tobacco place.
Captain Egon at the Admiralty, 10 Southwest, and the Deverell Street Plant, 12 Southeast.
Yeah.
So we went to those places too. We went to a whole bunch of other stuff too.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
barely needed that newspaper.
I mean, it pointed to another
Yeah.
bunch of stuff.
That's the thing. You're gonna have a lot of red herrings in a
Yep.
game like this.
Yeah.
you know?
How many cases are there? This is freaking fun.
So there are 10 cases in the base game. I also have the expansion, which has an additional 5 that
How many
all
have you
take
done?
place. Huh?
How many have you done?
I think I've done 3.
When did you solve it? Be honest.
It took a while. I certainly didn't beat Holmes either. I can't remember exactly, but I did not beat Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to.
I have in other cases, but not in this one.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any shame.
No, there isn't.
But now I get the point too of like, because I was like, how do we solve? Like, we need a murder weapon. We don't have a murder weapon.
Sure.
I
we
mean,
didn't need
4
it,
seems
so-
like that minimum.
Well, it is the minimum, but
Yeah.
you also only subtract 5 from it otherwise, and it's supposed to be really hard to beat Sherlock. Is the
Yeah.
thing as well, because
mean,
obviously he's the best.
Well, what sucks is like once you do it, you can't fucking play it again.
Nope, but you did get it right.
Not in shot.
Oh yeah.
You're back like that.
So
So you just get 10 chances to.
that's still a win. Getting it right, because
We got
that's
it
not.
right. We weren't wrong.
Yeah, that's not, a a guaranteed either.
Yeah.
Because some of them get quite difficult.
Yeah.
Because that was Clayton.
Or we could have said it was.
I don't get that.
Von
I know
Schubar.
Tarzan. I remember his name was Clayton. But I don't know the.
You could have,
Schulenberg.
stopped early with an assumption, right? And made the mistake that way. So, yeah, that's the way it plays. This is available now in a slightly different version, but all the cases are still the same.
Okay.
It's published by Asmodee Games, Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. If you enjoyed this, sorry for spoiling the first case for you, but there are 9 more.
And also the expansion with 5 additional.
I don't know if that's out. I'm not sure. It was quite rare when I bought it.
Okay.
So the new one. What's the new one look like?
It comes in a board game box. It looks kind of similar, but like everything isn't typed on like a
this
typewriter.
is more hardcore. This is more.
Yeah, this is the
These are more
first
like
edition. of
What
it.
I was wondering,
yeah.
because like fucking Five Islands coming out, and it looks better.
Now,
So you're saying this is better than the new one?
yes.
Okay.
There's also a version of this game, well, not this game, but a type of this game that is a spy game, I believe. I haven't looked into it too much, but
I really liked it.
yep.
It's good.
We solved the case. We should probably go tell his wife what happened.
Yeah.
Nope.
And we already have a
Fuck
report
her.
because we went there first.
Thanks, guys, for joining us for this edition of Game Night. If you like this and more, be sure to subscribe. Also, if you want to check out the next OC video, original content, Patreon right there. You can check it out right now at this instant. And it helps us get more games.
Patreon hit me.